Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Words from the Nerds podcast. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Aiden, or Aiden H Talks, joined once again by my wonderful companions, my wonderful co-hosts, Ben and Charlie. Before we check in on them today, just got to lay some groundwork for how this episode will shape out. I don't know what the thumbnail is. I think I might have an idea of what it will be. But the way that we will structure this out, Mr. Benjamin can only record tonight, which just so happens to be the night before the new episode of Invincible and Severance comes out. So in order to keep us on pace, we'll get his thoughts on those next week when we talk about Captain America and the rest of these wonderful shows we're getting. But me and Charlie will be here at the back half of the episode to talk about those two new episodes that have come out from these two beautiful shows this week. So you're going to see a bit of a weird switch. We'll try and wear the same clothes we're wearing right now tomorrow to kind of make it a little seamless, but we're basically recording this episode in two parts. For y'all, it'll be a split second, but for us, it'll be much longer than that, almost a whole 24 hours.
It's basically
difference.
Severance.
Yeah. It's basically Severance. So we will touch on that a little bit later. But as of right now, we got a nice bundle of stuff to talk about. Lots of crazy things have happened this week. We had the Super Bowl, which meant a lot of trailers, one of those being Thunderbolts, which we will hop into after we find out how these two gentlemen are doing. And then we will read out some comments we got from last week. So enough of hearing my voice. Mr. Charlie, how are you doing today, my brother?
You can probably tell by my voice. I'm all right. Aside from, I caught a little bit of a cold. I've got this sickness, but surviving. Throat hurts, but that's for a different reason. I'm just kidding.
My gosh, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man. Charlie has come out of the closet.
For the record, that's a joke. But
hey, he said it, not us. We didn't.
But everything else is good. I can't complain. We were just talking about before we started recording, like it is a wonderful time for television right now. It's like every day of the week we have something coming out. And then I mentioned White Lotus starts up on Sunday. I don't imagine we'll talk about that on here, but I'm excited for that. So a lot of good things. Captain America comes out tomorrow. I'm excited for that as well. And technically it comes out Friday, but Thursday previews. So, but yeah, other than the sickness, I'm good, man.
Wonderful. Yeah, we were playing some Rivals last night, and I was like, look, man, I just got to hop off. I don't know what it is, but I am feeling it. But the funny thing is, my fiance side of the family, I mean, it's a whole lot of them. She has three sisters, two of them got husbands, and then it's her parents, and every single one of them have gotten sick. My fiance has gotten sick twice in the past week and a half. And then every single one of her family members have gotten sick. And every time they text in the group chat, I'm like, put my immune system in the Hall of Fame. I'm the only one that's still standing. And then today I woke up and I was like, oh fuck, man. I am like, it's hitting pretty hard. But around 4 o'clock, I ate, I took some medicine and I felt fine. I mean, I feel way better than I did last night. I feel way better than I did when I woke up. So I'm not counting it. I'm still good. I don't feel contagious. I feel a little bit dizzy, but I think I'm just a little disoriented from everything. So, your boy's still standing strong. I'm not counting it. I haven't gotten sick this season, which is rare for me because I get sick every January, February.
That's actually something I want to talk about as well. It super sucks because I have not been sick in genuinely like a year and a half. I think the last time we have it recorded, The last time
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
was sick
yeah.
was during the Last of Us show when we were covering
Hmm.
the Last of Us show. That was the last time I was sick. So,
Yo, you had that stomach bug a couple weeks ago. I remember that. You
oh
got
yeah,
on the podcast and you were like,
yeah,
"I'm not doing good."
I had that when we did the Eternals episode, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I count my stomach stuff and like an actual like
Oh,
head cold.
yeah.
I count them as like different,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
I remember
I get the
last
stomach thing
year.
way more often. I hate that.
I remember last year, dude, I got it bad. That was one of the probably the most sick I've been in a couple of years. I was just truly bedridden and I did not want to move. I didn't want to leave the house, leave my bed. It was bad. So I was like, this year I'm not getting sick, bro. I'm not getting sick. And so far, I really haven't, other than like the 8 hours today that I felt kind of trash. That's really been it. So I'm hoping I keep going strong. I feel a lot better right now, which is all that matters. Mr. Benjamin, how are you, buddy?
I have been avoiding the sickness. It has been going around in my family, my wife's family, at work. It's been
Mhm.
everywhere, so I'm surprised that I have dodged it so far this season. I don't get sick super often though, so I'm not that surprised, but it would suck if I did, um, obviously. So glad I'm dodging it. Um,
Yes, sir.
I still it's at least where I'm at, it's, like, not slowing down, though, so the chance of me getting it is still
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
there. It's just switching who has it right now. But other than that, I am doing well. Been a little busier just in general. Also busy just keeping up on all these shows with
Oh,
Spiderman, Invincible, and trying to catch movies when I can. I watched Companion. I wanted to watch Love Hurts. Didn't get the chance to do that. Um, I might even do that like sometime over the weekend. Um, like I don't even get to see Captain America until Sunday, which the last time that I didn't watch a movie on Thursday opening weekend, it might have been like Endgame because I was on a trip that exact weekend and had to watch it on the Sunday I got back. So
That was a bad Endgame's a bad one to not watch as early as
still at a full
possible.
theater, still at a full IMAX theater. It's still
yeah.
great, but
I was dodging spoilers that day, bro, at school on that Thursday. I was
yeah.
walking around with my ear, was plugging my ears with my fingers because kids were talking about that shit.
Luckily, because I was out of state at an event, I was at a speech and debate competition. Nobody was talking about it because everybody was there. Nobody had seen it, so it was fine. And I literally drove home from Wisconsin and straight to the theater that same night that we drove home. So it ended up being okay. But it is abnormal to not be watching a Marvel movie immediately when it comes out. But just couldn't make it work until Sunday. So I'm not really worried about spoilers though. It should be fine to avoid. But anyways,
No, I got you, bro.
I've been well, a little
Expect a text message
tired.
tomorrow night.
Okay. A little tired, a little exhausted just from busyness, but other than that, doing well. I guess yeah, the other thing I should mention cuz you guys are going to talk about it later in the episode when I'm not here, catching up on Severance. I had never seen any of it before a couple weeks ago. Um so partway through season 2, just not fully caught up to be a part of the discussion quite yet, but hopefully next week.
It's actually crazy how fast you and Aiden grinded it out. I mean, Aiden grinded it out crazy fast, but having never watched the show, both of you guys are grinding it out crazy.
I would have watched it even faster had Reagan not taken interest and been like, "Oh, we should watch that together." And then
Yeah.
I went on my trip for like 5 days where I could have watched it on the plane and during travel and at night
Jeez.
and whatnot. Like I would be caught up 100%, but
Dang.
taking my time, and I'm very happy with that, of course.
Yes, you should be, because once you're caught up, waiting week to week for those episodes
Yeah.
is like,
Yeah, honestly, ending season 1, I was like, people had to wait 3 years for season
oh,
2.
Dude,
dude.
I had no clue that it was such an open-ended season and storyline. I thought it was kind of like a complete thing, and then people are like, "Oh, great, season 2. I wonder what they're gonna do." It's like, No, you've been wanting to know what's next for 3 years.
That was pain.
She's
So
alive.
I'm glad to not be in that boat on one hand, but I do want to be caught up just because I've heard that season 2 is starting to get crazy already, which like I loved season 1 a lot, but it didn't really get crazy until like the last 3 episodes where it kind of just ramped up really quickly.
Mm,
A lot of it is set up, which was still really good to get to that
yeah.
point, but really episode 7 is where it picked up. So if it's already picking up in episode 4, I'm very excited to get caught up and then kind of be on the train of theorizing and discussing on a week-to-week basis. So hopefully by next week, that's my goal, that I'll be all caught up.
Not to drag this out too long, but I forgot to ask before we started. Did you see that twist with I don't want to spoil it, I guess, for people who haven't, who are maybe still watching it right now, but the twist that happens in
You can
episode
just say
7
her
of
name. Yeah,
season
you
1.
can just say her name.
Yeah, with her. I'll just say her. Like, you should
With
know what I'm
her.
talking about.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think there was a certain point specifically in that episode where either like because of how they were talking about it and highlighting it, and then of course not showing photographs, they were very intentional with that.
Mhm.
I knew that it had to be something. That was not the first option that came to my mind. The first option was I guess the other option, because there was really only 2 that we know
Yeah.
of. Mrs. Selvig, not an option, obviously. So there was 2 other options. I thought it was going to be the other one, but
Okay, interesting.
that wouldn't have made, like, retroactively, that wouldn't have made sense because they actually interacted in like episode 1 or something as outies. So
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying.
Man, I'm curious.
I knew it was something, but I didn't immediately think of that. Which was still like, it was a good twist, and I hope it like leads somewhere. But because of the time that we spent with said character, it wasn't like as mind blowing. It didn't super change like my whole perspective on things, like a little bit, but it was still like, we're pretty limited in what we know about that and what we've seen about that. So it's more so like what it's going to lead to than that specific moment, I guess.
Okay.
I'll be interested to hear your thoughts next week, man. I really hope you're able to catch up and we can chop it up, because oh man, I mean, what a glorious week it's been. Just finally being able to hop on that week to week train for not only that, but Invincible. I mean, holy crap, man. We have a lot of fun stuff to talk about. I will go ahead and hop into our comments, and then we can jump into some Brave New World talk, I guess. So both come from Brandon last week. He said, "My responsibility, get over here, Aiden. We're watching it now." In response to X-Men 97 being his responsibility to show me, which I understand. That'll be my next one. I had to spend the past week and a half catching up on Severance and Invincible. So, you know, I'm getting there. Now that One Piece, I mean, I'm 22 episodes away, or I'm 12 episodes away from being caught up. I have finally been able to kind of put it on pause and
You're almost like done with One Piece.
Yeah.
Until it starts up again in April.
Until it starts up again, yeah. I got to read the manga and whatnot, but yeah, in terms of the anime episodes out, I am.
You plan on
done,
watching the? Sorry to interrupt you, but do you plan on
Okay.
watching when they do like the retelling, like in a more concise way? Do you plan on watching that?
Yeah. Because there's a lot that they're going to offer: better pacing, different animation. Actually, I think, and Brandon can probably attest to this more than I can. From what I think I've heard, one of the best animation studios in all of Japan is actually doing the animation for the remake, and they're also fixing a lot of the pacing. So there's going to be a lot to kind of pick from, and Oda is going to be overseeing it, so he might throw some stuff in now that he's a whole story ahead of the original story he was telling. So there's gonna be a lot of stuff to pick and choose from with like what you add, what little lines of dialogue you put in. So yeah, for sure. I plan on watching that. They've already started remaking one of the older arcs, and every week they have completely changed the animation on it. So it's pretty cool. I forgot to tell you, there's something that happens in one of the arcs where they Warner Brothers actually wanted to animate some stuff on there, and they were like, "Hey, we're a big fan of the show. Can we put our touch on this moment that happens in Wano?" And they're like, so the studio was like, "Yeah, dude, go for it." And so they went in and did some animation for something that Luffy goes through, just because they were like, "We really want to be a part of this." And it's really cool what they did. Obviously, I can't really get into it without spoiling, but it's really cool. So yeah, there'll be a lot to pick and choose from. But I'm almost caught up, which is why I've been able to watch all of these shows I've missed out on, and it's been pretty nice. It's been fun. I've had a great past week. And then the other comment comes from Brandon again. He says there's some really bad Spider-Man takes this episode. And I'll tell you right now, he wasn't talking about me. So alrighty, that
I would just love to
concludes-
hold on. We gotta respond.
Yeah.
All right, go
Because
for it.
all I'm saying, I would just love to hear what specifically about what we said was bad. Because all we said, and I think Ben and I agreed, is that Lonnie has way more character development than the title character of the show. And that's all we were saying. That's what our point was surmised.
The main reason we care about Peter Parker is because we know who Peter Parker is, not because of what the show has given us.
I actually talked, and again, he can feel free to comment if he wants. Brandon, I advise you don't. 2-against-1 is not a fun thing to be a part of.
Oh my God.
I know a bit that he mentioned. He kind of had the same sentiments as me, to where he was like, I mean, it's the title character. Like, what Spider-Man? I think he maybe even brought this up today, where he was like, you're fleshing out all of these side characters, and I get why you'd have some disdain towards that, but I mean, what Spider-Man project hasn't just fleshed out every character that's this crucial to his story?
Whoa, hold on.
This far in. I don't know. Look, he can explain himself. I'm probably fumbling what he said. I don't want to be the one talking for him. Brandon, you can comment if you want and explain yourself. I don't want to incriminate him. I don't want to incriminate him.
It just sounds like our words are getting misconstrued somewhere along the way. Because I don't think we love character development. If anything, that's what I'm saying. And I love that Lonnie's gotten that development. We just want Peter to get that development as well. That's all I'm saying.
I think he shares from the chat I had with him a week ago, which is why I can't really remember a lot of what he said. We shared a lot of the same sentiments, because every time he'd say something, I'd be like, dude, it's exactly what I said. Like, when it came to Peter not really needing that, and whatever. We'll get into it later. Again, for y'all that don't, before we started recording, I told him, look, I felt a little bit sick today. I don't have the energy to argue again, so we're not getting another screaming match over here, all right?
I mean, we haven't talked about the show yet.
I know, but I'm prepping myself, because I don't want to be sweating bullets again, screaming at my PC at 10 p.m. All right, that concludes our comments and whatnot, all of our fun stuff. Let's get into the craziness that happened this past week, starting off with what dropped today and last night, and that is Captain America Brave New World reviews. First reviews that came out. Obviously, y'all see that we're talking about this right now, and you see how much stuff we have to talk about. We will get around to talking about Brave New World next week. So yeah, Charlie wanted to point out a little bit of the reactions and the reviews he saw. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on that.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to touch on a couple things. Like the Rotten Tomato score, I believe it started at like a 50%, and I think it's now up to like a 52 or 53, something like that. Which, whatever. Rotten Tomato scores, like, obviously we think they matter. We are basing our list off of them, the list that we just did like 2 weeks ago or whatever. But all that is to say, I'm hoping that this ends up like another Eternal situation for me.
Yeah.
But obviously, I'm gonna go into it and I'm gonna judge it accordingly. I'm still, my hope has not lessened, I guess, and my excitement has not lessened by these reviews. A lot of them are just like, oh, it's good, it's not great. Some say it's bad, some do say it's bad. Like the editing is poor, et cetera, et cetera. Kind of an anticlimactic ending is what I've heard as well. But I mean, we'll see what happens. The main thing I wanted to talk about, though, apparently, and this isn't that big of a thing. I think we're just making it a bigger thing than it is. And Discussing Film posted this today. Apparently, it's the first Marvel movie to not have the Marvel Studios intro since like Doctor Strange. And I wonder what the choice was
Since
there.
Doctor Strange?
Yeah,
thought it
Doctor
was-
Strange was the first movie to have this new one where like you the camera going through all like the giant logo and the 3D logo and all.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
what they meant by, because
The
I
fanfare.
thought it was like, I thought I saw that it was the first time in the whole series, but you're just
think-
saying that
well,
it's
I
a
think so, in
different
general.
intro.
They said
Well, no,
since
no,
it
I'm
was
not saying-
introduced.
Yeah, since this new, I'm talking about since this new logo or intro was introduced. I am talking about that. I'm not saying that there was a whole new logo. Apparently, there's no Marvel Studios logo at all.
What?
Yeah. Apparently.
Did you see the
Marvel-
video
wait.
of what it is? I
No, I didn't.
actually saw
No.
what they did with it. It looks interesting. It looks
So
like
it's-
interesting.
It's probably
Okay.
just like a title splash, is what I imagine. Something like
I won't say
Avengers.
anything
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
I
it
won't
just
say
says
anything.
it's the first MCU movie to not use the opening Marvel Studios fanfare at all since it was introduced.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was going on, let me collect my fucking thoughts. Holy shit. I was going on a bit of a web surf last night, just kind of reading everyone's letterbox reactions, everyone posting on Twitter what they thought. It seemed very lopsided. Not lopsided. It seemed like there wasn't a general consensus.
Mhm.
Now, Letterbox, there was. It looked like it all ranged from about 2 to 3 stars. But Brandon said it best. Letterbox has the can be very pretentious at times. So he wanted to see a little bit more of what the general population thought of the movie.
Does that get review bombed, Letterbox, ever? Because people can just say they watched the movie, right?
I think there's
Yeah.
two. The average amount of people who view a movie like this is too high for a review bomb to matter. You could argue that it's happened before. Like, I think it'll happen for Snow White. Just, gotta throw my Snow White hate in there. I think you'll see something like that where you'll see kind of a normal average, but then you'll see a spike towards the bottom.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if you see an average and there's no like weird random spike somewhere else, then usually the average is pretty accurate. And anything that is kind of bombing it is not significant enough to actually change anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw a lot of I saw the word filler being thrown around on Letterboxd last night. I haven't went back and looked since the embargo was kind of I don't know. I don't know what really happened. Everything was dropping at a weird time, but I saw the word filler being used a lot. Lackluster, boring. I've seen people say it just doesn't have heart. It just doesn't have the Captain America heart that the other ones have. But then I've also seen some people have really liked it and have put it around like a 7 or have likened it to how they felt walking out of Winter Soldier. But again, these people like Charlie, when we were talking about last week, about the guy where you were like, I was sending you all your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man positive reviews. And you said that guy hasn't not liked anything since he started reviewing. So a lot of that could be that. So who knows? Can we really say we didn't kind of expect this to happen? I don't know.
I mean,
I still have faith. Just to clarify, I still have tons of faith. I even tweeted today, am I dumb for still having faith in the movie? Like, I'm gonna go in and make my own opinion. But
Yeah, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. Like some of the compliments that the film is getting is really promising. Like people say it's one of the most cohesive when it comes to the overall story of the MCU. It's actually like
Yeah.
connecting previous threads and building upon them. Which has been one of our biggest critiques is like we're getting close to some Avengers movies and there's barely been any sort of like actual storyline that's been driving them anywhere. So that gives me a little bit of hope. I feel like I've heard two different sides of the aisle when it comes to the action. On one hand, I've seen reviews that say it's some of the best action in the entirety of the MCU. On the other hand, I've seen people say the action is super choppy, way too many cuts, and just doesn't work. I don't know how it's like either or. Like no one's down
Yeah.
the middle. I've seen either of those opinions, and that's it. Feels a little strange. So I think there are good signs, but my biggest takeaway, honestly, is that no matter what we personally think about the film, this clearly is still not Marvel going in the best direction. And there clearly are still problems. Like this might be the lowest rated MCU film on Rotten Tomatoes. I think it currently is.
yeah,
They
with
used to
Eternals.
never be below like an 80%. Like if they were in the 70s range, that was low for them. And then like Eternals was like the only film to get a rotten score. And now this is following along. It's like their batting average just used to be so great. And
Mhm.
clearly they are not back to their form. Um, we may still really like the movie, but it's obvious that the turn is not looking positive for Marvel like we're hoping it will be. We're hoping that at some point they're going to kind of revert back, spend more time, they're working more on stories, they're doing reshoots to make things better. At some point it's got to pay off. That doesn't look like it's happening.
Whenever you hear Soup say it takes a village to make a movie, and I just want to congratulate it's like, oh God. I don't know. But again, like I know that I saw him and this group of people that went to watch the movie, and then they all came out saying the exact same thing as the other person. And so I'm like, all right, what's really going on? One of y'all is just
Somebody said one thing
following
and
the
they're like,
train.
yeah, man.
Every single one of their reviews were the same, and I was like, okay, what's really going on here? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've heard a lot of good things. I've heard that Red Hulk was amazing. I don't know. Hey, comes out tomorrow. I wish I could go see it, but honestly, if you had to make me choose between watching that or Severance, I'm picking Severance, which is what I'm doing.
Jeez.
So yeah, we have tickets to go watch it Saturday. I'll watch it Saturday. We'll see. I mean, it's just we'll be here next week to discuss it in all of its glory. Alrighty. Well, that concludes Captain America Brave New World early reactions. Now, talking about last hopes, talking about if these things don't pan out, we're really screwed. We got the Thunderbolts trailer. Now, good old Cubson. Oh, look at that man. Already 3 steps ahead. Good old Cubson over here did post his trailer reaction on TikTok.
Oh,
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Ben hasn't seen it. So this will be our first time watching it. Charlie, this will
I
be
think
his
I saw
second.
some clips of it, but
Yeah,
I
I have too.
don't know
I've seen
the
the
bulk.
aura farming of Sentry. Everyone's saying that he's already aura farming, and it's not even the movie isn't even out. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna react and talk about the Thunderbolts trailer in all of its glory.
Okay. Sorry for you audio listeners. Big apologies.
Let's talk facts. The Avengers are not coming. Who will keep the American people safe?
Oh, my boy.
There's some big threat out there, and you are gonna help me stop it.
Wait, us?
Yeah, you. Why, you got someplace to be?
I love that guy.
Oh my God, is he gonna be like the
So,
captain of
none
the
of us
team?
comply? So what, do we all just punch and shoot?
I can't think of a worse group of people trying to work together.
Where are you?
Everyone here has done bad things. You can't escape their past. Hey, it's like your mind is somewhere else.
So you can do something about it now,
Oh my
or
God.
live with it forever.
This could get messy.
No shit. You thought you were gonna be some great saviors? Oh
You
shit.
can't even
Oh.
save yourself.
Oh my god.
Oh my God, the little tease.
We can't do this. No one here is a hero.
Lena, when I look at you, I don't see your mistakes. That's
Oh,
why
what
we
a
need
shot.
each other.
Okay, that was really good.
We are the Thunderbolts!
Can't call ourselves that.
God, thank you.
Oh my God,
This
bro.
has makings
What am I
of team.
watching?
That can raise to glory. Bring light from the darkness.
Holy.
This team can be the heroes on the Wheaties box. With a little giddy toy.
Oh, yes.
Alexi, have you slept?
I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Well, I'd like not to die today, so maybe somebody else should be driving.
Oh.
Absolute banger, bro. Absolute. I don't care. I'm talking first. Absolute
Oh.
fucking banger. Okay. I made a TikTok video after this trailer came out. And you already know, you two already know I've been singing the praises of this movie since the teaser trailer came out. Right. I said in the TikTok, when this movie was announced, I could not care less. I thought it was a dumb idea. But since that first teaser trailer, I've been loving it. And this trailer just doubled down on everything I loved about it, man, and added more. Oh my God, Sentry and the Void. Hear the difference in the voice when he's Bob and then when the Void has complete control. Oh my God, man, it just looks so fucking good. You got me tripping. This is gonna be a banger on the Cubson list, on the Charlie list. This is gonna be a banger. You can promise yourself that.
Listen. As much as
Ben's
much
gonna hold on. Ben's gonna say, Marvel always makes really good trailers, man. You know, they always make really good trailers.
You might be surprised by my take. I've expressed my concerns plenty. I made a YouTube video about it a few months back, and I think the more we've seen of it, the more relieved I feel about it, knowing that, like, okay, these characters actually can work really well together and fit in scenes together. And sure, like, we don't know how all that's going to play out through an actual story and their relationships and whatnot, but seeing more of their interactions, it's like, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
It's going to be a
dude.
Stop me! It's John. It's me. Where were you?
So I think this movie looks fun. It looks really fun, and I think that will hold true. It's still just, all of those other questions about story. Why are these characters coming together at this point in the Marvel universe? Yeah. So I still have my reservations. I feel like everybody does, but I am very hopeful about this. I try not to get my hopes up too much because I was hopeful about Captain America up until, the
Yeah,
last
I get you.
couple of days,
Yeah.
but it's a great trailer. I don't know why they keep changing the logo when they're literally just changing fonts. Like,
Well,
what are we-
I think this one, maybe they listened to people because I remember after the last little trailer, and people didn't like the font, and so I guess they just made it a different font or something. But I don't know.
Yeah, man. Holy shit. That was Oh my god, man, that was
Dude, look at
amazing. I
him
think I
throwing Red Guardian right here. Oh my
not even
god.
just that, like you could see the
But like,
blonde
yeah, you can
hair.
see.
That's what I'm
Yep.
trying to. He looks so good, and we haven't even seen his face. We haven't even seen the costume.
Somebody said this, and I really hope that this isn't true, but like it's happened so often, like I could see it happening. That they're hiding him, right? They don't want to show him seemingly until like we actually watch the movie. But either A, he's going to be revealed in a TV spot like that they dropped the week the movie's coming out,
Yeah.
or B, Funko Pop collection is going to
Yeah.
drop and leak,
Yeah,
and we're going to see his whole suit and everything before the
dude,
movie comes out.
this could have been Steven Yeun, man. Like, and he might be
Yeah.
great. He might be fantastic. It looks great. The trailer looks phenomenal. But I'm never not gonna look at Sentry and be like,
Could have been Steven
Steven
Yeun.
Yeun.
Fuck.
I
Yeah.
thought that was great, dude. I felt tears coming to my eyes. Just watching them all interact and just being like, I'm just in awe at how appealing they're able to make this team look whenever they were first announced. And I was like, are we kidding? Ghost and Taskmaster? Really? Red Guardian?
Yeah.
Like, you've heard my complaints about Red Guardian in What If, and I don't know, they've found a way to nail it. They have found a way to hook me and not let me go. Oh my god, it's great, dude. That is a fantastic trailer. I mean, look, bro, if Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four back to back are not good, man, really, where else do we have to go? I mean, they're putting these next two Avengers movies, they're fast tracking the ever loving shit out of both of them. I've already seen people on Twitter being like, "Oh, this might be the worst movie ever made." Like when it comes to Doomsday and Secret Wars, just because of how they're handling it. And
They
if you
start
can
shooting
just
in
give me
March.
these two, if you can just
Crazy.
give me these two, just let me hold on to that.
And
Let me
I
hold on
mean,
to that.
give you those two, and then it'll be enough to have you cling on for the rest of the ride. I mean, realistically, if these two movies are bad, of course, I'm still gonna watch the next
Yeah.
Avengers movie. Like I have to. It's not like
Yeah.
I haven't seen an Avengers movie since Endgame. Of course, I need to see how this one fleshes out.
Yeah.
But still, like if they can't get the individual stories right per se, like why would I stick around for anything else? Like I don't know, especially if they're not taking the time as we're mentioning right now to even like build up a team to make the Avengers movies meaningful. Like what does it all matter in the grand scheme of things then? Which I know, like I don't want to make it sound like I'm all super doom and gloom after we just watched a trailer that we all seem to agree was a really good trailer for hopefully what's
Oh
going to be a
yeah.
really good movie. But as Ben mentioned, with the reactions to Brave New World, it sounds like Marvel still isn't taking quite the right steps that they need to be taking after all the duds that they've had recent as of late. So I don't know. I hope that this is the sign of change, though, for sure. Because man, would that be nice to have have Sentry's introduction into the MCU be fantastic, and have him stick around and see what that looks like, and with Val owning the Avengers Tower now, and seemingly that's going to become Sentry's watchtower or whatever. I don't know, man. All super sick stuff. I'm in my video on TikTok about it. I talked about how like there's writers from Beef and The Bear on this thing, and the director also worked on Beef. Super excited for it. I guess that's something we talked about on the podcast before. I completely forgot we mentioned that, but it reignited my already excited brain for this movie. So super looking forward to this, and I hope it's not a letdown, truthfully.
We honestly might have we definitely did. We talked about it with the San Diego Comic-Con. That was our first big venture back into uploading weekly. Because our episode before that was Dune 2 almost a year ago next month. So yeah, we most definitely talked about it there or D23. Because I remember reading off every movie and like the cinematographer attached to it and whatnot. Which I have to say, this movie looks very gray and ugly, but in a great way. Like I kind of like it. I kind of fuck with how it looks when he's taking over. I'm assuming it's New York. Oh yeah, well it's New
Yeah,
York.
it is.
I kind of like how gray and colorless everything feels. Um, but I mean, contrasting it to Fantastic Four. I mean, holy,
Yeah,
we
I'm
really
glad
are.
Fantastic Four looks like that too. I want to see
Ooh,
that.
I'll
The
tell
color
you
grading
what.
on that
I
looks
mean,
really, really good.
we're really getting the full spectrum. Like Brave New World, really just does not look like a movie. Let's be honest. And then we got this that's just really dull and gray and monotone, which is fitting for the movie. And then something like Fantastic Four. I still can't get over that trailer, man. Jesus Christ. That
Also,
was
the
treat.
director of this movie tweeted like a poking fun at himself or at the people that are saying it. He said, "Why does it look so gray?" He tweeted that out. So I imagine it's a very stylistic choice this time around for the
Yeah.
you might
Which
see
which
it
is
in
why
Marvel
which is
movies.
why I like it. Yeah. I'm like, this looks so gray and like monotone, but I kind of love like the look of it. I kind of love what it's going for. That was awesome, dude. Jesus Christ, man. I'm
I
more
hope
hyped than ever
it's
for
a
this.
secret banger, bro. I hope this is a secret banger. And now I
I'm
also do
hyped.
want to give Ben his flowers, though. I do think he's right as in terms of like the asterisk by the name. It just like it's just gonna mean like a little name change or something towards the end of the movie. And I think I already know what that name change is gonna be to, but
What? Suicide Squad?
um
Wait, what do you think the name's gonna be?
Dark Avengers, probably.
Oh, that'd be sick. That'd be
Sentry was on the Dark Avengers in the
Do
comics.
you do you think this cast of characters will stick around for a couple of years? Because I started to think whenever they were doing the shots of introducing all of them, a part of me was like, "Oh damn, this could be our like one of our last times seeing Bucky
Bucky.
in the
I think
MCU."
Bucky could die in this one, maybe. I don't know. Or
I
he
mean,
could
not
just
even
go,
just that, just like leave and just
yeah, he could just go away
that's
because like
it. Just
I think
ending his
there's a
arc.
couple of shots in the trailer, like he's wearing like a U.S. congressman pin or something.
Yeah.
Like member of Congress now, and so that could pull him away from doing big things until um, Secret Wars comes around and they need him or whatever, or even Doomsday. Um, but I do think like Taskmaster, it doesn't look like
Oh
she's
yeah.
anywhere in
Yeah.
the latter half of
Nah.
this movie. I bet she's gonna die, which everybody's saying that right now. So not much
I
of a
think
big
that
prediction.
I think that big New York set piece that they spend a lot of time on in the trailer will probably be most of the third act, if
Yeah.
not gearing up for the third act. But I mean, we'll
There's
see.
rumors that when they're in the void, they're gonna have to face like different aspects of their past, each of the characters, and so I don't know, man. It seems like it's gonna be a very character focused movie, and that's what I said in my TikTok. And I mean,
I
I love
love
stuff.
what you pointed out with John Walker, that moment with John Walker,
Yeah, bro.
where his
That's
baby's
one of
crying next to him, and he's just like, "My image is suffering right now." It's they might be cooking. They might be cooking big time.
also light little thing I want to say. I just finished rewatching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier today. And oh my god, like Carly is such a bad villain, like actually terrible. She is horrid, dude. Like her entire message of one world, one people, she actively goes against it at every turn. If that's what you believe, one world, one, why are you killing everybody? Why are you killing so many people? What are you
Well,
like?
and
What?
then having Falcon just come back, I guess now Captain America, having him like come back and save her and come down holding her. I'm like, don't why? She died being a villain. There's no redemption for her. Why should we sympathize with her just because Captain America is sympathizing with her? Fuck her, bro. Like she's nothing. I don't know.
It's just like she's actively the entire show. She's saying one thing, and then like all of her actions do not work towards that whatsoever. And so it's just a super. I understand why people. I don't think because it had been 4 years since I watched it. I don't think people like, or I don't think I myself. I knew she was bad, but I didn't know how bad, and that's pretty fucking bad. Like, that's
I mean, it's just the whole show. Let's be real.
okay.
And with that, we have our newest installment of your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. As I said at the top of this episode, I do not have enough energy to argue today, so I will go first. I will get all my thoughts out of the way on this wonderful TV show that we have here.
I'll be right back. You keep talking though. I can hear you.
Spider-Man. All right. Oh, let's see. Yeah, the show continues to be a 9.5 out of 10 for me. I think these 3 episodes really hammered home the Peter stuff that I can assume y'all were missing a bit. Probably not enough to make up for what y'all have felt the past 5 episodes, but I think it did do a lot of really good groundwork for him. The fights were jaw-droppingly amazing. The characters that get to come in and cameo for a bit just because Marvel wants to flex that we have all these people under our discretion. I thought that was super cool. Everything they did with Scorpion, everything they're doing with these awesome Spider-Man villains, these iconic Spider-Man villains, finding a spot to fit all of them in and still tell a cohesive story for Peter, for Spider-Man, I think is all just done so well. I mean, I struggle to see why people just don't think this show has the amount of sauce that it does. I think this is peak Spider-Man, peak TV show, peak Marvel animation. I couldn't really ask for more than what we've gotten so far. At least me. I know these two will have shared their thoughts in past episodes, and we'll continue to share thoughts for better or for worse this episode. But as for me, a lot of what they did episode 8 with Peter was great. I found myself tearing up a couple times when he was talking about just how hard it is to balance all of these people in his life. And it's another thing.
Of course,
when Peter's
writer, sorry.
Oh my God, here he goes. Look,
I'm sorry.
Everything you say, I'm just gonna.
It was uncalled for. It was uncalled for, man. I know you're not trying to argue. Sorry.
Everything that all of the groundwork they've done for all of these characters, all of these side characters that are so crucial to Spider-Man's character and his story so far, having laying all that groundwork and then having Peter Parker being like, I don't know how to do this. I can't be there for everybody at once, and also, and he didn't say this to Aunt May, but we can infer, and also go out there and be the best Spider-Man that I can possibly be. Like, I have Norman in my ears saying, you need to step it up or we can't work together anymore. But I also have to be there for Nico, be there for Harry, be there for May, everything with Lonnie and Pearl. And you don't get that moment hitting as hard as it does without building all of those characters up those past 7 episodes. So to have it all culminate with episode 8 being the bounce back for Peter, being the slum that he goes through, and then that sick theme at the end where he says, "Go get him, Tiger." I think it's all just done so well. And so yeah, I had a wonderful time. I think this show continues to just up it every single freaking week. I don't think an episode has really dropped below an 8.5 out of 10 for me. Some even being up there 10 out of 10. And some of those 10 out of 10s were this week's bunch. And so, yeah, I had a wonderful time with it. My thoughts remain that I think this just has it. It just has it. And I am so happy that we get to live in a world where, for me at least, I have to keep clarifying, I get to experience this, Invincible and Severance, every week. It's genuinely mind-blowing how we thought that all of that would come in March with Daredevil and The Last of Us, and then bleeding into May with Thunderbolts. And it's halfway through February, and we've gotten some of the best weeks in recent memory back to back, and still more to come these next couple weeks. So it's been great. I could not be more happy right now. I'm so happy that we live in a time where I can experience something like this. And like I said, I can sit down Wednesday night, watch this amazing show, and then come back Thursday and bang out 2 more amazing shows and just get to be a part of all the discussions across the board. So Yeah, man, this is the best I've felt in a long time, and a large part of it is due to how amazing this show has been. So there's my sentiment. I loved it. Show remains for me. Y'all know my thoughts. I'll pass it off to whoever wants to go next.
I want to go next.
I was gonna say I want Ben to go next.
Don't try and take credit for that. Come on, I was speaking. So, um,
I'm on Aiden's side now, bro. This show's peak.
No,
so
earned. All right, that's not earned. All right, get out of here.
a lot of the problems that I had the last time that we talked about it are still there. I think it's getting better. I will definitely agree that this was the best batch of episodes that we have gotten so far. And there are some really, really great moments in here with Peter Parker, with Aunt May, and I like some of the different relationships, dynamics. There are some great things in here, way better than stuff previously. I would still take the stance that I care more about the stuff with Lonnie personally. I'm still at that point. And really, I guess what this batch of episodes shows me is that they could have been developing Peter and having him be more emotionally, have the basis of his emotions more directly tied into the show from earlier on, because really it felt like he was going along with the motions, and now he's starting to be a part of it, whereas other characters, they were a part of it from the very beginning. So I like that they're improving it, but still in retrospect it's like they should have been doing this all along. And so I will still critique the show for that, but this is an improvement. I do think this is a very solid batch of episodes. I did like a lot of the action. The animation style has definitely grown on me over these past couple of weeks watching this
Big
show.
time. Yep.
And yeah, I like where it's headed. Still, like, I still have all of my small complaints about it, but I do think watching it today, I was like, this is pretty good. Like they're starting to actually hone in and do this pretty well. So I'm definitely not where you are, Aiden, like with the show as a whole or even with these episodes, but I will agree that this is the best batch that they have dropped so far. And if they continue in this direction, yeah, I'll say that the back half of the show was pretty good. And the first half was a little useless when it comes to developing Peter Parker. We're not going to argue. I'm just giving my stance. I'll leave it at that.
No. I actually went back and listened to what Brandon had told me. What he said was, we've gotten so much Peter Parker forever. We've gotten so much Spider-Man forever. So why not focus this show more on the side characters and then have it all come crashing down in episode 8 to where you show Peter's flaws, where he just, oh my God, buddy. We get it. We get it, buddy.
No,
he
you
says,
can't say we can't
why-
argue and then say something like that.
No. Well, because you were asking earlier what I meant by we've gotten too much Peter Parker. Whatever. So I'm clarifying because I went back and listened to it. We've gotten so much Peter Parker forever. Why not spend this show adapting and strengthening the side characters so that when you have that moment in episode 7 and 8 where it all comes crashing down and everything's been so easy for Peter, and he finally gets to that point to where you kind of see the flaws he has, where he's just trying to do too much at one time. And he's just trying to balance too much at one time because everything's been kind of a walk in the park lately. So when it all comes crashing down and you see it affect him the way it does, and you see him struggle with being Spider-Man and being Peter as much as it does, it's warranted, and it hits the way it does because we've spent all season developing these characters. And so his thing is just, I mean, there's been Peter Parker forever. I mean, we've had tons of adaptations where we see Peter and Spider-Man, and we get the develop Peter more. That we've gotten a lot of that in the past. And so whatever, I'm just clarifying what he said. And I agree with that. I agree.
I want to say one thing that we're not gonna discuss. I just
Oh
want to
my
give my
God.
take on what you said.
Go
You know,
for it.
there's no aggression.
Go for it. Go for it.
I can agree that we've gotten a lot of Peter Parker. We've gotten stories where he's developed. I think that's a really stupid excuse to say that in a Spider-Man show, they don't have to develop Peter Parker. I think that's a really dumb way to view it, in my opinion.
Well, Brandon, you know who to come after this episode.
I'm gonna respond
Charlie,
to
go ahead
what
with your.
Brandon. I'm gonna respond to what Brandon said as well first, actually. So this is to Brandon. This isn't to you, Aiden.
I mean, we
'Cause-
share the same sentiment, so I mean.
Oh well, yeah, you did say you agree. So I guess it's to both of you.
Go for it.
But again, I have no problem with developing the side characters. That's what I loved about Spectacular Spider-Man so much. Gwen, fantastically developed. Eddie Brock, fantastically developed. Even Aunt May is fantastically developed in that show. And that's one of the reasons I love that show so damn much. Of course I want that in a Spider-Man show, but I also want Peter Parker. And so I agree with essentially everything Ben just said as far as these 3 episodes go. The absolute best bunch of the 3. Fantastic run of episodes, right? And I love the moment watching it all kind of crumble down for Peter and him saying like, I don't know if I can keep up with all of these different aspects of my life. I think that's great, but I feel like it's lesser. It hits less because you didn't show me at any point in the show up to now him struggling with that. He's just been on easy mode, as we talked about multiple different episodes. Like, sure, we've seen him ditch Nico. We've seen him let people down throughout the show, but he doesn't seem to be bothered by that. He doesn't he just moves on to the next thing. He moves on to the next Spider-Man thing. And then all of a sudden, now he's crying to Aunt May about why this is so hard. But I haven't seen him say that this is so hard before in the past. I haven't even seen the little bits and pieces of him saying that this is so hard. Granted, it still hits. It's still great, but I think it could have been better.
I just to combat that a little bit, and I'm not for me at least, the way I took that was that this whole time we've seen Spider-Man defeat every single villain he's went up against. We've seen him team up with the smartest man in the world, Norman Osborn, who's fast tracking his way to become a supervillain of his own. Whenever he gets his ass absolutely kicked by Scorpion is where he realizes, oh, this isn't as easy as I thought it was. And maybe this isn't just a walk in the park. Maybe I can't balance these things out the way I have been and the way I've thought I've been doing lately. And so whenever he comes back and Nico finds out he's Spider-Man, and then right after that he gets his ass kicked by Scorpion, and then everything starts crashing down. It's because he's not on top of the world like he was this whole season, where he's kicking every villain's ass and everything's been cake for him. And then he gets stabbed through the heart by Scorpion and is just on his last leg, where he realizes, oh, I'm not invincible. Cue title card. Where
So
he's
you're
like,
saying
I'm
it was
not
like a
invincible.
come to Jesus type moment kind of thing?
That's
what
the way
you're
I saw it. And that's why I was like, I don't need that development. And I'm just like, I can see there being a moment to where this has all just been easy. He's on an uphill climb. He's reaching that top where he's with Norman and he's the man. And then he gets smacked in the face and he gets beat down, the worst we've probably ever seen Peter beaten down.
I saw somebody say that, but I would push
and
back
that's where I'm
with
fully.
Spider-Man 3. I would say Spider-Man 3. He was getting cooked before Harry showed up. Dude, he was getting choked by Venom, and Sandman was smashing his shit, bro. Like that shit is crazy.
I mean, bro, but that fight scene with Scorpion. I mean, Jesus, man, that was rough.
I mean, yeah,
that
100%.
That was.
100%.
But regardless, I mean, it's up there with one of the worst beatdowns
For sure.
we've ever seen Peter Parker get. Is where he realizes, oh shit, this isn't easy. It's been easy so far, but what am I doing this for if I can't go out there and be my best against the best? and now I know I can't. I've lost my best friend. It isn't as easy as it was the past couple months. That's how I took it. I get what you're saying. I just figured I'd throw in how I interpreted that moment. But yes, please continue.
Sure, I think that's a fair and valid point as well. I would also then say though, like, I mean, he got his not his ass whooped, but I mean, he did lose to Daredevil as well, you know.
Oh, that was
And
so sick. That Netflix theme, man. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Charlie Cox, bro, not a bad voice actor, bro. Not a bad voice. I mean, not
I thought
stellar.
it was
but
a
not bad.
little it was a little but
Yeah, it wasn't great.
I'd rather
It wasn't
him
great, but it
than
wasn't bad.
anybody else. I'd rather him.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, I see that, like, I think that's a totally valid point. And I do think that, and it almost made me, because we called back to, I think it was last week, we talked about the rise of Peter and the fall of Lonnie. And it seemed like, I think it was in this third episode. Yeah, it was in this week's bunch, where I think it was like a shot for shot, same thing for Peter as it was for Lonnie in episode 1, with like the camera looking at him from like a 2D perspective, and Peter's just like walking home, just like Lonnie was. And I was like, oh, this would be a perfect, like, bait and switch kind of thing. Now Peter's at his lowest and Lonnie's at his highest kind of thing. But I'm not really getting that from Lonnie, and I actually have an issue with Lonnie in this bunch of three that I'll bring up here in a little bit. But I just feel like, granted, I don't think that they outwardly said that that was their goal, is to bring Peter up and bring Lonnie down. You know, I think that's just kind of what we made up in our heads.
Yeah.
But I think it worked brilliantly. And so that, I just think that would have been really cool to show that little dichotomy. But again, I agree. I agree with Ben, and I think that this was a great step in the right direction for Peter. But I just would have loved it more sooner. I would not more sooner. I would have loved it sooner. And I just think that now, looking at Peter and his struggles and him pouring himself out to May, great stuff. Don't get me wrong. It just, that rings hollow. That's not the way. That's not the verbiage I want to use. But it just, I feel like it could have been more, rather than all at once, like you're saying. I get the come to Jesus moment kind of thing, and I think that it works, and which is why I'm saying I think it was good. But I do think it could have been more powerful. Which is why I don't quite understand the vapid love for the series. Not from you. I'm not saying from you, but from everybody. Like, it seems like they just skip over the Peter Parker part, and it kind of makes me feel like I'm crazy, because, like, what the fuck? Like, I don't, I've seen like a select few people say that Peter in the show is boring. I've seen a couple people say that on Twitter. Not the overwhelming majority though. Not even like a half and half split. So I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but truthfully, that's just how I feel. As for the Lonnie stuff, I feel like Pearl brought up a really good point in episode 3, or episode, I guess it would be, what is that, 8?
Yeah.
In episode 8, she brought up a really good point. Like, after Gargan did what he did, like, the gang's got bigger problems now. Like, they probably don't need to focus on Lonnie. So that's Lonnie's way to get out. But then Lonnie, he just goes and justifies why he still needs to be there for the gang, and why he's still sticking around. And it's like, you don't want to be here in the first place. Like, you were here to save your brother's life, and now you have potentially a chance to get out, and you're not taking it because you feel a sense of loyalty to these people for some reason. They didn't save your life. Maybe it's like a sense of Stockholm syndrome or something. They put his life in danger. They're the reason that he's even eyed by the Scorpions at all, because they sent him to a place where they run the turf, and now they know him and they know where he lives and everything like that. So I find it really, and you could argue that maybe, oh, it's the first time Lonnie's felt like he belongs somewhere. What about the football team? You know, he has brothers on the football team. He is clearly not bad at making friends. He made friends with Peter Parker, the dude who can't hardly get a full sentence out without tripping over himself, you know? Like, I don't know. I feel like Lonnie's been really good up to that point. That feels kind of like a mischaracterization of him so far, unless there's something I'm not seeing. It just seems a little flimsy. Like, why wouldn't he? Like, you could argue, okay, they'll come back and get him, but like, dude, someone like Scorpion Dog against the 1/10, what do they got? They ain't got nothing. What are we talking about? Now they're gonna go to Doc Ock's lab or something, I guess. But Doc Ock just got arrested. Who knows if that all that stuff's there? The cops could already ran the place through. I don't know.
My response, kind of the hints that I picked up on for why I think his actions seem more justified, is like from some of the interactions that we've gotten with him and just like, is it Big Don? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Big
Yeah.
Big
Don.
Don and everybody else there. You can tell, at least I could tell personally, that there was some part of him that actually liked what he was doing. And I noticed that in an earlier episode. I think it was when he was given the name Tombstone, and he was like, "Oh, I kind of like that." Where like, yeah, he did it for his brother, but when he got there, it seems like he actually wants that, which is why he's willing to sacrifice football, his girlfriend. Like, yeah, I think obviously it
That's
seems like
crazy.
a stupid decision for him to do that. But what it really seems like is he actually
He enjoys it.
wants to be involved. And like
Sure.
that hasn't been like explicitly shown to us, but there's been some moments where it's like he's not like, this doesn't feel like he's just being forced, or he wouldn't have such a positive attitude and be so like proactive about cheering the whole gang up and all of this. Like, he's going out of his way to actually lean into the lifestyle rather than feeling like he's just there out of obligation.
That's a fair point. I guess I would just say, and this is just I don't even think it's subjective actually, but just I guess I don't get the vibe. I never got the vibe that he like loves it that much that he's willing to throw away all these different aspects of his life. Like like you said, football and his girlfriend and whatnot, just because of like he had a more promising future with football than he does with this stuff. But clearly I know what you're saying, like he likes it, and that's what's making him continue. But does he like it to that degree? I guess like it seems like he was so not willing to participate in that gang fight, right? Originally, he was there to save Big Don, and that he wasn't there to save him, but he was there to be in the fight, but he chose not to until Big Don was about to get stabbed, and then he saved Big Don. And then when Big Don was getting choked by Scorpion, he saved Big Don again. So I don't know. I don't disagree with you. Obviously, I think he likes it to some degree, but I guess I just have a hard time believing that he likes it so much that he's willing to throw away what he has already built with his life and the potential that he has to build with his life. And then you could maybe make the argument as well that like since football's already off the table since he had to participate with the gang so much and he got kicked off the team, now like this is his only shot. Then I guess just make that clearer to me, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a minor complaint at the end of the day. Like I know he's Lonnie, he's Tombstone. He has to end up being Tombstone in some way, but it just feels a little wishy-washy, I guess. Maybe I'm being too critical. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
like
just I
what
can see
you
it. It's just not like explicitly in our face. So I agree with you to an extent.
Yeah, I like what you said about Stockholm syndrome. I think I would liken it to that the most out of everything that's been said about it. All right, for the sake of time, I guess we can move on to one of the bigger things.
The real good stuff from this week. I'm just kidding.
Oh baby, I know I've basically been going first on everything. Not really, just really more so Spider-Man in this. But look, I rewatched all of season 2 and I caught up to season 3 in just this past week. So I feel like I have to start to kind of talk about what I've missed out on. One of the main things being, I absolutely love how I'm seeing this show everywhere. I'm seeing people talk about it all over Twitter, all over TikTok, and I didn't get so much of that last year when season 2 came out. And I don't know if that's just based on me not seeking it out, not really interacting with stuff, or if that's more so due to the big break that they had in between the season. Because for me at least, that really shut down all the hype I had going into season 2. After I caught up to those first 3 episodes, I kind of just fell off the wagon. Again, I was watching One Piece a lot, and so I kind of put everything on the back burner. So I don't know if that's what it is, or if the momentum is just kept up with week to week, day to day, because there aren't any breaks. We're just getting the next 5 weeks of this high quality show. But I gotta say, season 2, I remember not really being a huge fan of the beginning, more so just when Omni-Man shows up and we get that big twist. It was a lot of setup, which I've said before. You kind of got to do a lot of setup. One of the biggest moments in comic book media happened and took the world by storm with that beatdown of Mark at the end of season 1. So you kind of have to spend those first 3 episodes kind of, recuperating from that. So I understand that. But the back half of season 2, oh man, it was special. It was so good. And I absolutely fell back in love with the show. So then by the time I got to the first 3 episodes of season 3, I don't know, I felt that love that I felt watching season 1. And so I really like season 2 a lot. There's just something about being in Mark Grayson's point of view that, I don't know, it's different from other superhero media. He has 2 very amazing love interests that are so compelling that they can just write novels about. And everything else that he deals with, otherworldly, and even just being Mark Grayson, the son and the student. Um, the first 3 episodes of season 3 and the back half of season 2, I mean, they know what they're doing and they know how to make it feel special. And I've been listening to Feel It by David on repeat. I thought that moment was so amazing that I had to sit my fiance down and be like, look at how great they use music in this TV show. Which I've like in season 1, whenever Adam Eve is talking to Rexplode and she's just kind of at her end with it. So she goes to confide in Mark and she sees Mark and Amber making out on the bed and she's just like, oh, and she just walks away and she's like, good for you, Mark, and just leaves. The song that they use in that moment, I mean, it is still like, I think about that every other day. It's so well done. And to the point where I was listening to that song on repeat for a long time after that moment happened. And it's the same thing with this. They just know how to use their music. It's that like the beat not the beef. The Bear and Beef do it really well too. Again, the cousin episode. I mean, they that adds so much to a moment if you know how to use it right. And it was just so good. It was great. And I just love the stuff that they do with Mark every season. These first 3 episodes are phenomenal. But before we get into that, I just wanted to talk about how great season 2 was. Oh my god, man. When Charlie, I was just blowing your phone up when those moments were happening. But when he sits there and he's like, I thought you were stronger. Oh my god, man. Like that is like one of the coolest moments I have ever seen. It was done so well, where he's just putting his hands on Debbie and Oliver and he's just beating the dog shit out of him. And he's like, oh shit, I thought you were stronger. It's like the fact that you could say that to somebody after just absolutely killing them. And then of course, Adam E from the future coming back and just being like, I've always loved you and you need to tell her, or you need to tell her that you feel the same, or put it to rest because she needs closure and she needs to move on with her life if that's what it is. And then Rex just being like, did you just not listen? And she's like, shut the fuck up. I had to get that out. It's so well done, dude. And they just they just understand this character, and they understand how to write amazing moments like that. And I'm excited to see what season 3 has in store. But I just had to get that out there because goddamn, this was the most fun I've had watching stuff this past week and a half. It was so great. I would just come home and be like, all right, time to keep going on Invincible. And I just had such a blast. So yeah, Invincible season 2 was phenomenal.
That was my most listened to song on Spotify last year.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good,
Feeling like
man.
they-
It is so good.
Wow.
Banger.
They just it just enhanced the moment so much. Like they're on the brink. Like they're on the edge of their nothing is gonna save it. But if they could just have this one moment, if Mark is just like, look, I just want this one day with you, this one moment, and even that
And then
gets interrupted. And it's like, no matter what, you can't even put that song over their date that they're having because you still know how it's going to end. And so for me, it kind of felt like we're going to put this song, we're going to show how much fun they're having as just a last ditch effort of like, they're both going through this. Everyone knows that it's at its end. And even the show is like throwing everything at the wall to see if it can hold them together. And it still is not able to.
I just got chills right now thinking about their conversation too, bro. Like that was crazy.
Exactly. Where he says, I don't know. And she's like, maybe that's an answer. And
dude, when she says, and I have a life, and sure, maybe it's not as significant. It's kind of small, but it still matters, or something like that. And it was so good, dude. Zoe, no, not Zoe. Zazie Beetz, bro. Oh, that was fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah, and also on top of that, I just love to see Viltrumites just absolutely kick the ever living shit out of other beings. So to have Anissa show up and just kind of have an aura off with Mark was really cool too. So yeah, season 2 was great. A lot of really good moments. I guess one of y'all can start off our season 3 talk.
Go ahead, Charles.
Okay, all right. I was gonna have Ben start because I have no idea where he lies, but that's fine. Season 3, man, an absolute banger off rip, man. Like episodes 2 and 3 are obviously the shiners for me. But episode 1 definitely still had a lot of promise, and by the end of it, it sets up a lot of great things for the following 2 episodes. But I mean, talk about starting a season off with a bang, like I guess we'll just talk spoilers. What's his name? Doc Seismic.
Yeah.
Somehow sitting in prison for a year just memorizes every single walking pattern of every superhero on the planet. Like, that's fucking insane. And then fucking traps them all down below Earth. Dude, that is a crazy storyline just off the rip, right? And
real quick, that's it. That's another thing. I'm sorry to interrupt. That's another thing that I wanted to talk about season 2 is like we've basically had the same villains this entire show, but they just find a way to just up them and just make them. And like I had kind of an issue with Angstrom Levy because I was like, I don't know how like appealing this guy is as a villain. We just got off of nobody's gonna like stand up to Omni-Man, right? Like he was the best season 1 quote unquote villain. Nobody will top him. Maybe Conquest. Anyways, I'm just getting into spoilers.
I was gonna say be careful. I don't think Ben doesn't know anything.
Maybe some other people that we'll see in the future, but the fact that they just used all season to strengthen him, to have that moment where he just breaks Debbie, and he's just a force of nature, and the way he's using his powers to where you're like, oh, okay, it's still not a great season 2 villain, but I see the vision. And then starting off with season 3 with Doc Seismic, it's just like the Mauler twins, like It's so good, man. It's so good. But yes, please.
Yeah, because I agree actually. Like the way they found a way to continuously bring back like old villains, but they don't get stale. I'm not
Yes.
tired of seeing Doc Seismic or the Mahler twins. I mean maybe after this one I might be like a little like, okay, how'd they get out of this one? Like I'd have to see how they did, like maybe they have another clone off somewhere like how Kate did last season, but I don't know. But I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I will say though, my one caveat: you spend the entire first half of the first episode of this season showing Mark improving, getting stronger, getting faster, and he's a force to be reckoned with now. And maybe it's just because I have no sense of the scale of power of these creatures below the earth. And they try to have like a little bit of exposition on them, like Doc Seismic says that they were born in the core of the earth or something like that. But to see him struggle with the centipede, dude, I cannot tell you how mad. And they were careful about this, and I don't know if they were this careful within the comics. I cannot tell you how mad I would have been if one of the other superheroes, when they all got broken out of the cages, took down one of those big centipede things. I would have been livid, bro. Like Mark. There's no reason, after showing me how he's training that much, should be struggling with these guys. But these superheroes, they get it done easy. But I will admit, nobody took down a giant bug in that fight. They all just ended up running away. Still, it's a little bit annoying, and I've seen the conversation on Twitter is that nobody gets that Mark is always holding back. Like, okay, no, I get that. I get that he's always holding back, but how many other superheroes are always holding back? Spider-Man's always holding back. He doesn't always get his ass kicked. Superman's holding back. He doesn't get his ass kicked. Like, I don't know if, and here's the thing, here's where I'll give it some leniency. Maybe Mark is like super holding back now after the end of season 2 because he accidentally killed Angstrom and he doesn't want to do that again. But this goes back to like the thing with Lonnie. You need to show me that then. You need to show me that that's something he's struggling with. You can't just let me assume that he's extra holding back so he doesn't kill somebody again. But anyway, that's my little Mark rant over. Overall, man, fantastic first 3 episodes. I loved episode 2 being a more of a focus on Cecil and his origins, getting to see where he came from, what he went through. And I also
very much
love,
right, by the way, very much right.
That's exactly what I was going to get into, actually. I think it's a very interesting moral dilemma that these 3 episodes introduced. I stitched somebody's TikTok video arguing with him about it. And he liked it and favorited it. So I thought he was going to have a response, but he hasn't hit me back. So I don't know. But yeah, there's tons of different takes on if what Cecil did to Mark was right. Stemming from like, no, Mark has shown multiple times that he's not going to do that to Earth. And I agree with Aiden. Like, brother, there's at this point, the luxury that Cecil has to just trust the most powerful heroes in the world, that they are at their word and their word and their actions, I'll say, that they're just not going to do that luxury is over. Like, you have to take precautions at this point. You would be stupid not to. And I get it maybe wasn't the smartest decision to do it without Mark's knowledge. I heard somebody put forth the idea, and obviously Mark wouldn't go for this, but put forth the idea of like asking him if he can do it. And then if Mark says no, then just do it anyway. Next time Mark gets his ass kicked. And like, I think that there's pros and cons to that idea. Mark might be on the lookout for that in that scenario, but still, I think that would have turned out better than just going behind his back and doing it. And now you have not him as an enemy. I mean, yes, as an enemy, you can't go near him or his family, or he'll kill you, as he says, which we find out from his conversation with Debbie and Oliver that he didn't actually mean it. He just had to know that he was serious. But I just feel like, I don't know, that was a good idea, but the way he went about doing it, it could have been better. And I don't want to say it dooms Earth. I'm sure that they'll find a way to work together somehow, whether it be begrudgingly or whatever. But I don't know. I think it definitely makes things more interesting for the rest of the season, with what I think I know is about to happen. So great couple episodes. I think episode 3, I really really love episode 2, and it's hard for me to choose. I want to clarify that as well. I think episode 3 was probably my favorite of the bunch, though. I just really love the opening. It was very different, just
Oh my
silent for like the
God.
first 10 to 15 minutes of just following these guys throughout their life. These two criminals that we've seen before, and they come back, and then
Yeah.
we dive deeper into their lives and their characters. Fantastic stuff. I love that. And just to see what they've gone through, and just Mark has no idea, and he just comes in and he whoops the shit out of him, which it's crazy to look at that and then look at something like, and I don't want you to think I'm backtracking here, Aiden, because I did give this credit when we first talked about it, but to look at your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, the first 3 episodes, when he encourages this girl go because she was just down on her luck, right? It's crazy to see the stark difference in like the way that they carry themselves as heroes, I guess. Where Mark just comes in, whoops the shit out of him, and then Spider-Man gives the woman a chance to go home and get away. Kind of a needless comparison. I'm not trying to say that one show is better than the other for doing that. It's just kind of funny that we have 2 different shows running like that. But yeah, episode 3, and then combining that with what happened with Oliver towards the end, and like the conversation that they have. Apparently in the comics, I didn't know this, but in the comics, in that moment, when he asks Oliver, like, do you think Dad was right? Like, what's wrong with you? And then, or no, Oliver asks him, he's like, don't you ever think sometimes that maybe Dad was right? And in the comics, apparently, Mark says under his breath, sometimes. And so in the show, he didn't say that, which I kind of like.
Didn't Troyer post something about that
on TikTok
Twitter?
or on Twitter?
On
Oh,
Twitter.
I don't know.
I think he replied to somebody saying that, and he said that maybe they'll cut back to it later and be like,
oh, actually, you know what? Now that you mentioned it, that was where I saw it. That was where
I think maybe it was Troyer. I'm not sure, but
yeah. that is how because he replied to it. That is how I saw it. Which like the person he replied to seemed to be upset that Mark didn't say that in the show, but like I feel like I'd be upset if he did. I feel like that'd be completely out of character for him. Like I don't see no part of Mark to me seems like he thinks that everybody on Earth should be enslaved so far in the show. Like
I think Oliver was more so just talking about like, hey, maybe sometimes you got to kill some people, and don't you ever think that maybe Dad was right about that maybe not everybody's life is all that precious, and like it's the whole like should superheroes kill or not, and it's the whole like and I know in the past I've been team kill. Nowadays I don't know, I don't really know where I land, but I love that this is something the show is exploring. But yeah,
if that's the lens that he meant it from, then okay, I take back what I just said.
That's how I would have taken it. I don't know, I can't attest to him.
But yeah,
Benjamin,
great first 3 episodes.
Yeah, I didn't rewatch anything from season 2, which I feel like I remember at least most of the second half. The first I'm a little muddled on. I didn't love the whole split release thing. Like I would have been fine if they just like delayed it until whatever it was, like February of last year, and then dropped the whole season. I think that would have been a little bit better. But still, I was excited for this. I think season 3, episode 1 was kind of a good, just like getting us back into the swing of things type of episode. Like it was still really good, but not like a super heavy hitting episode. I would kind of liken it to almost like Severance season 2, episode 1, where they're not going to give you a ton of stuff from what you wondered before. They're not going to build too much, but it's like, here's where our characters are at. We're getting back into the swing of things, setting us up for what the rest of the season is. So I'm glad that they did a 3 episode drop. I feel like that was the right amount to get me fully invested and back into the show. Whereas if we had gotten these separate, then you would have seen me probably complain for a couple weeks about the episodes being good, but like not really, getting to the substance of what we care about. So I'm glad they dropped 3. Episode 3, easily the best in my opinion. I think the stuff that's hooking me the most is definitely the relationship between Mark and Oliver. Um, even more so, like, I know we're early on in that and just getting hints of that, but for some reason that's like I'm more attached to that than even some of the relationship stuff with like Adam Eve and whatnot. At least when it comes to like emotionally driven stuff, that's what I care about right now. Really liked the stuff with Cecil, a lot of the morality questions and whatnot of if what he did was correct, you know, even previously, and then also now currently, because he is in kind of an interesting standpoint because, like, if you look at it rationally, he makes a lot of smart choices given the position that he's in. But because we know Invincible and we see it from that perspective, he seems like a really bad guy. And I think that's a really cool way that they've set up that dynamic of like, how much do we really trust him? But also in the world that they live in, he's kind of doing what has to be done. I think they've set up that dynamic very well. And even just in these 3 episodes, like, they've done a great job of ramping up that conflict between Cecil and Mark specifically. So, um, yeah, I'm really liking it. I think the biggest thing so far is that the 3-episode drop was really great. Um, I look forward now to just like weekly episodes because I feel like we're in the swing of things. And yeah, I mean, I think everything that you guys said was correct. I think we're all kind of on the same page that like the show is still great, and if they're gonna keep up with this momentum, we're gonna like it a lot. I did really like season 2, but I will say that I thought it kind of faltered a bit towards the end, for me personally. And I think that's probably because of like expectations once you watch season 1. It's like, how are they going to top this type of thing? Um, so I am hoping that like our story does kind of build up to something really cool. Although there's always the possibility, you know, since this is such a large story that spans such a long time within the comics, there's also a chance that this very much kind of leaves us off on more of a cliffhanger. And I'm sure there's plenty of big things still that happen throughout this season and whatnot. But the grander story, we're still just getting started. Um, so I'm always interested to see how they approach that in any form of media where you kind of take something pre-established and you're either condensing the story or how do you separate it into different seasons, because yes, you want the whole story to be cohesive, but also you don't want people to be underwhelmed. Even just like upcoming with The Last of Us, I think it was today, they said it will probably be 4 seasons long, which means that the second game will be 3 seasons long. And you know how they split that up and whatnot. Yeah, they're going to tell the full story. I'm sure that'll be great. But by the end of season 2, are we going to be wanting more, or will we feel at least somewhat fulfilled with where we're at? So that's where I'm at with Invincible as well. It's like
season 2. I know it. Sorry. I'm just saying you're not gonna like season 2. I know it.
Oh, that's where I'm at with Invincible. I think it's a little different because Invincible is such a big story that like they can kind of pick and choose and alter it to also make sense in the case of a TV show with the storylines and whatnot. But I'll be curious just to see how that plays out. But I am a big fan. I am really liking it. And do we know? Is this supposed to be 8 episodes for this season?
Yeah.
Okay.
8.
It already. It's crazy. We've already seen almost half the season. But
I will never get over seeing Mark just snatch the fuck up out of Cecil. Happened twice. I think that first moment was really cool where he's just like, I will never work for you again, and if you come near my family, I'll kill you. And then he turns to Rudy and he's like, Rudy, take this fucking thing out of my head. Oh my God, bro. Like, Steven Yeun's voice acting this season, I don't know what I like. I mean, yeah, we are seeing symbiote Invincible basically, as I think was it Kirkman said today that this is supposed to be that blue and black is supposed to be his symbiote suit. But even snatching him up again when he's sitting there talking to Oliver, and poor Cecil is just like, oh man, even superheroes kind of still get freaked out about. And then Mark just comes in and is like, "What the fuck did I tell you about coming near my family?" I'm like, Mark, chill, bro. And so yeah, I think all that stuff with Oliver absolutely obliterating the Mauler twins and just being like, what? Like there was some people being like, mind you, loving family and no trauma, by the way. Like, and he's still doing shit like this.
Yeah, that's actually crazy.
Oh my God. I'm like, dude, I love seeing all the memes and just everyone talking about it every day. And of course,
yeah, you're missing out on some elite some
dude,
elite
oh
Immortal
my
memes
God.
on TikTok, man. You're missing out.
I saw
Am
I saw one, it was like it was a Venn diagram and it was like Cecil's right, Mark is right, and it was like the Invincible fandom. And then the one thing that everyone could agree on is Immortal. The Immortal sucks. I was like,
bro,
dude.
the one you sent me, I think it was last night, bro, from season 2 when they were on the ship with the Sequids or whatever, and he pushed Immortal, and Immortal's like, "How dare you?" And then he's like, "Stop! You know I'm faster and stronger than you." And then Immortal is just like, "All right." You fucking bitch. Like, he's just like, yeah,
like,
take that
good
shit, Immortal,
boy.
you good boy. Yeah. Dude, and then all the comments are like, Immortal when watching Invincible choking Cecil, Immortal behind Kate's like, unhand him. Like, it's so stupid, bro.
It's like get let go of Cecil, Immortal muttered under his breath.
Under his breath after the fight was already over. Unhand
Here,
him.
Ben, this is the one Charlie's talking about. Here, let me
Listen, what a good boy you are.
Stop it! I'm stronger and faster than you, and you know it.
Bro, his face, bro. His face, bro. Oh my God.
It's just crazy because he says, I'm stronger and faster than you, and you know it. And he's just like, I was like, bro, say something.
Oh my God.
This one, this other one I sent you. We could just round it off with some Immortal memes. Why don't we?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because who's gonna stop?
For context, audio listeners, it says when you get kidnapped in the Invincible verse, and the Immortal comes to save you.
Making a big mistake. Oh yeah, because who's gonna stop the Mauler twins? What was that? Oh shit, someone's broke in. You're fucked now. Oh, it's just one guy. We can handle him. Don't worry. Can't wait for Invincible to show up and it like Invincible over you guys. It's just Immortal all by himself. Immortal? Yeah, just the Immortal. Where's all his friends, little guy? With Kate, right? Nope. Immortal is the only one here. Nah, I think it's actually only the Immortal. Dude, it's the Immortal. No one else. They don't care about you.
He said, no, I think it's actually just the Immortal. Oh my God, it's hilarious. I'm looking forward to it. That's one of my favorite things so far is all the discourse online. Just seeing that they're able to keep all the momentum, and apparently, it's the show's just gonna get crazier. I've gotten a couple things spoiled for me in terms of what happens. So yeah, it should be very exciting, and we'll see what comes with episode 4, which me and Charlie will get into right now. Ben, any last words before we kick you off?
Sayonara.
Adios.
Alrighty.
Why did bro adios?
And now that Ben's gone, baby, we can go ahead and get into Invincible episode 4 of season 3. For y'all, it's been mere seconds. For us, it's been a whole 24 hours. A lot has changed, but our outfits have not. Let's go ahead and talk about Invincible season 3, episode 4, and Severance episodes 4 and 5. And we're doing this because next week we will not be able to talk about Invincible or Severance. So then the week after that, we will have a lot of groundwork to cover. Hopefully, someone get this man Ben a reality check or something. Like, we got the two greatest shows going on right now concurrently, and Buddy can't make it on a Thursday night. It's crazy. Next week we'll be covering probably just Spider-Man and Captain America, which we
Captain
have
America.
both seen.
Yes.
And we will get into next week, so stay tuned for that. But as of right now, one of the two wonderful, beautiful, one of the three, I would say, but shows going on right now concurrently. We're here to talk about Invincible Season 3, Episode 4. Watch this early this morning at like 10 a.m. I keeping up with all the drop times for everything has been weird. One show drops Wednesday at like midnight, I guess. I still don't even know.
I didn't know
Invincible,
that Severance drops on Thursdays.
yeah,
I got the notification from Apple TV on my phone saying the new episode's out. I was like, what?
I
That's when I
like
texted you, like, are we
theirs.
covering that?
Yeah. I like theirs. It's just Thursday at 8 o'clock Central. I mean, at 6 for you, but it's just Thursday 8 o'clock. It's just a nice little Thursday night. But like Invincible is like Thursday at 2 a.m. So technically Wednesday night, and then Spider-Man. I still don't even know when it definitively drops. So yeah, I checked this morning because I didn't know when Invincible came out, and I saw that the episode was already out, and I was like, "Oh, let's go!" So I was just like, "Yeah, let me throw it on and watch it." So yeah, watched this morning. Had a lot to say about it, so I immediately spammed Twitter and texted Charlie. Was it good or bad? Who knows? Let's go ahead and start off with Mr. Charles. What did you think about episode 4 of Invincible?
Another banger episode. I didn't expect to see Jolo Maridueña's characters come back at all. So this was a very nice surprise. But more so, just the actual storyline that we followed with them was super interesting to me. I always love like post-apocalyptic things.
Oh, yeah.
And so going into that and seeing just how this world fell apart, and like there's this ominous figure, and we come to learn who that figure is. And I find it so funny how we've just all the past week, the collective Invincible fan base has been making fun of this man. And then in this episode, we see how he just crashed out on the entire world.
And the funny thing is he's still sitting here begging Mark to kill him because he knows that he's the only one. It's like, oh man, you're not helping your case, dude.
That's wild, bro. Absolutely insane. But speaking of that, actually, I think that brought forth like a very interesting conflict for Mark, and I think that overall, knowing where this, I don't 100% know, but I have a very strong idea as to where this season is going. Um, because unfortunately, I've seen spoilers about from the comics up to a certain point. Uh, I do think that they're doing a really great job with Mark's character and leaving him with these moral questions for himself, as well as the world at large. And if well, actually, I should say this because we see him with these such stark 10 toes down, 2 feet in the sand, standing up straight against Cecil and what he's doing. And Mark's so strong about his morals. And now we're seeing all of his, or one of his main morals, tested as we continue throughout the season. And I think that that's fantastic writing. Um, and I hope to continue to see that. And I don't feel like, I know that it happened at the beginning of the episode, and it can almost seem like it was like brushed over, especially with everything that happened afterwards, the date, and then everything with Nolan and Alan. But I don't think it was very. I was gonna say heavy handed, but that's the wrong terminology. I don't think that it was handled lightly at all. I think that it got its point across, and then it moved on to another thing, which we had been waiting to see a payoff to, and we finally got that. So I think that on another level, this episode was great in that way. We finally, and we're done just seeing them sit around this prison. They're actually getting some work done, and they get out of here. And we learn a big secret about the Viltrumites, which was actually a shocker to me. I don't think I that was spoiled for me at any point. I don't know why I'm dancing around it when I've been spoiling the entire episode so far, but there's only 50 true full-blooded Viltrumites left in the entire universe. And that's one of the Viltrumites' most closely guarded secrets. And so that's how Omni-Man knows that they can beat them. And that's just, if that doesn't like pique your interest, like, because admittedly, like, you think that there's hundreds of thousands of these people, and you're like, oh, this is hopeless. They're never going to beat these people. Like, what the hell? But to know that, like, oh, okay, we got a fighting chance here. Fuck these guys, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Super
Yeah.
cool stuff. And obviously, the actual date with Mark and Eve, them flying all around the world with a Joji song in the background. Great stuff, man. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Not I obviously I don't like the song choice as much as I liked the David song choice,
Oh yeah, 1000%.
but still great stuff in terms of their relationship and getting across just how there was a lot less tension for it to all go right, I guess, in this time around versus the one with Amber in season 2, because as you mentioned, I think earlier in this episode, you mentioned how, like, you know that everything's gonna like go wrong eventually. Like, this is their last ditch effort to try to salvage something. But with
Yeah.
Mark and Eve, like, everything's already going wrong, but they're still having a hell of a time, you know. And I think that that's a great testament to their relationship. I don't know. And so, I truly very little complaints with this episode. I mean, a little of like I didn't care for like the breaking all the aliens out of the prison so they all get slaughtered, and they slaughter a bunch of like, you know, it's cool, it's whatever for those people that like that, I guess. But I didn't care for that much. But that's just a small complaint. Overall, the episode was really good. I loved the fight between the Viltrumites, and seeing Battle Beast get to stretch his legs with an actual Viltrumite rather than just Mark was cool as well. So yeah.
Yeah. Battle Beast was on one, dude. I mean, he was dropping some like just the definition of for the love of the game. I mean, he said whenever he was like,
dude, yeah, he's like, and
if you
this ends in my
kill
death,
me,
oh,
yeah, it's even better. Like,
it's all sweeter for me.
and then he even tells him, he's like, I think the Viltrumite threatens his life, and he's like, you promise? Is that a promise? He's like, yeah. And he's like, all right, say less. Yeah, I thought it was a banger of an episode. They just keep up the quality. Um, it is just more Invincible, but it's great Invincible. I mean, it's everything you love to see about this show. It's everything we've been praising about this show. And yeah, funny we talked about it, I guess, just earlier in the episode about the music choices and how they just know when to use the right song and how it just enhances everything going on in the scene. And I've seen a lot of people praising that for other moments. The Radiohead song from episode 1 of season 2, the aftermath of Mark versus Nolan. I've also seen them use the Earth Isn't Yours to Conquer, that that whole scene and that music for that scene. I think it's called Tom Tom or something. Which is just a testament. Like, we touch on the emotional moments, and then you see 4 other huge moments that the songs have just like resonated with people. Like, this is the moment that this song belongs to. And it's just so cool. And so imagine my surprise after talking about all that when I hear my favorite fucking artists of all time just come in out of nowhere over top of Mark and Adam Eve on a date, flying to the most beautiful parts of the world, and Mark telling her that he loves her for the first time. Oh my God, man. I felt like it was made specifically for me. I'm like, I just talked about this yesterday, and now y'all throw a fucking Joji song in the mix, dude. Like, I was over the moon. And I don't know if it was like if the track list for this season was released, if anyone like knew any of these songs were going to be in the season. If that somehow exists, I still would like to stay away from it because I told my fiance, I'm like, I never fully listened to Feel It because I was like, I don't want to listen to this until I see it in action. And so same thing goes for any other song that's in this show. And so if that is out there and I just somehow dodged it, I'm glad I did. If it's not, all the better. But yeah, you can imagine my surprise when I'm just sitting there watching the show and then I just hear Joji come on out of nowhere. I was like, oh man, I am crying. Like I got tears in my eyes. This is gorgeous. So yeah, I thought a lot of I'm fully biased. I told Brandon I'm fully biased. This was like an 11 out of 10 episode for me. Um, because I thought all that was just really cool. Strengthening the relationship between Adam, Eve, and Mark. Just knowing that she always has his back. She always will be on his side. Continuing to put Amber to shame, but I don't like the Amber slander too much. Like it's fun to joke about, but like she is a great love interest. Her character is written so well. Same with Adam Eve. I mean, Mark just has the two best love interests across the board, arguably across the board. And I've been seeing a lot of funny memes. Everyone's like, I'm so invested in this relationship, they got me feeling like a third wheel. And it's like I feel the exact same way. Like every time I'm just like sitting there cheering for them like a dumbass just in my room. Um and so you give me half an episode focus on them two and just building up Mark's character and his morals that he's been struggling with all season. I'm all for it. And then you give me a badass Viltrumite killing scene with Alan and Omni-Man. I mean, geez, dude, it's great. The Alan has like he went from like just comedic relief last season or season 1 to one of the coolest fucking characters in this entire show. And I will not get tired of seeing that development and seeing them smush that Viltrumite's head together had me jumping out
Dude,
of my
that was a
seat. It was
crazy
great.
shot, dude. That was an insane shot.
God, the power, dude. The power from both of them. Not even just them as beings, but to crush a Viltrumite's head like that. Jesus, dude. That was crazy. And this is another thing on topic of the on the topic of the music aspect. I wanted to say this earlier this episode. What I was going to say was and now I regret not bringing it up was if they did get David back for season 3, if he did write another song, if that was something that was in the air, maybe I just missed it. And then did you see what he posted on TikTok today?
No, I didn't.
Oh man. Oh man. Strap in, Charlie. Strap
I'm already
in.
excited because he's apparently making a song for Beyond the Spider-Verse. So
Well, yeah, I saw that he's made one for Arcane and for Invincible, and so he said his next one was making a song for Beyond. So
obsolete. Shout out
yeah,
obsolete.
uh so audio listeners, the artist who made the song Feel It had posted today on TikTok. I didn't get the call back for Invincible season 3. So here's what I made after watching this scene. And it's the scene of Amber and Mark on a date. Again, this confirms that he didn't get a call back for season 3, which sucks, man. It really makes me so upset because I'm like, he made a banger for y'all last year. Here is the song that he made after watching this scene. I think personally it's absolutely amazing. I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
Oh my
when it
god,
drops.
come on.
Fuck, when it drops. Fuck yeah.
Oh
Fuck,
my
man.
gosh, dude. Like, is that not just oh my gosh, I don't know how to work this device. Oh my god, is that not just pure cinema, man? And like I don't know,
I
I
need
think
more
that's
David in my life, bro. I need more
that
of
song just works so well with the
him.
flashbacks to Mark and Amber's
Yeah.
or Mark and Amber's Mark and Adam Eve's previous
Yeah.
relationship. I was just like, oh man, I'm a giddy little motherfucker right now watching that video. I think it's a great song. One thing I love about him is that when this song does drop, if it does ever drop, I mean, we'll always know that he watched that scene right there and that made him make that song and put those
Yeah.
lyrics together because of that scene. And I think Here With Me, I don't care how long it takes. Apparently he watched the opening scene of Up, and after that he was like, I
Mm.
could make a song about this, like this feeling, and so he, after watching it, he went and made that song real quick and then
Oh, I
uploaded
didn't
it.
know that.
So I just love that. I just love that he has that insane talent to see a scene like that with Mark and Adam Eve and just put together that song.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or if this has been a song that he's been waiting to drop for a while. I don't know if that's just marketing, but regardless, dude is insanely talented. He's dropping a new album on April 25th. So
Oh, really? I did not know
yeah,
that.
I just found that out today. So
I need to be keeping up
yeah,
with his ass, bro.
dude, that's what I'm saying. David, if you're listening to this, buddy, if somehow, some way you're listening to this, just know you have two very loyal fans here that will
Yes,
follow you
sir.
to the ends of the earth after the beautiful work you've not only done for music in general, but like for Invincible as a whole. Like, I'm telling you, that song
And soon to be
it's laced with
Spider-Verse
something.
movies.
Yeah, yeah. Feel It is laced with something good because I haven't been able to stop listening to it.
That's that good stuff, man.
Yeah, so I saw that TikTok today and I thought that was really sick. It's a gorgeous song. So hopefully it drops, but yeah, I loved episode 4. I thought it was a nice continuation of this incredible show, what we've been getting lately. Yeah, I have no complaints. Thought it was awesome. Checked off all my boxes. And you know what? Like there is, I will admit, I mean, this is not so much, I don't want to say filler because I feel like that's used so negatively. Um, but it pushes Mark and his character and his morals along really well. In terms of where this season is going, which I have had spoiled for me, it doesn't do much for that aspect, which is completely fine because if they are going in that direction, episode 6, 7, 8, maybe even 5 is going to hit like crack. So if these are the filler episodes we're getting, oh my god. Like that's a straight 4 for 4 that they've gone on so far in season 3. And I am more than fine with that. So I can admit, hey, maybe it didn't push the plot too much along, but you gave me Adam, Eve, and Mark on a date with Joji playing in the background. Oh my god, man, what are we talking about?
Bro, on
Like,
Cloud
holy
9.
shit. I mean, I'm living for it. So yeah, I thought it was incredible.
I also want to say that I love the line when Nolan was being killed, was being executed, and one of the Viltrumites asks him, "Was your betrayal worth disgracing your people, or something like that?"
Yeah.
And Nolan said, "Absolutely," or like, "Yes," something like that. And then he says, "And I'm sad that you'll never understand how it feels," or something like that. Oh
Uh
man, banger, bro. So
I mean,
damn good.
and I didn't really talk about it earlier in the episode, but I mean, yeah, just that line at the end of season 2 where he says, "I think I miss my wife." Like it hits so hard after everything that he did at the end of season 1, just knowing that after all of that, after beating his son to a pulp because he truly wanted to believe in this cause and was hiding that love that he actually shared for these humans,
Yeah.
that far for him to still turn back and be like, "Oh my god, I shared a connection with that woman and I miss her." And I'm admitting that, like, I think I miss her. Like,
Damn.
it's absolutely insane to hear him utter those words. So, it's like, yeah, did he kill millions of people? Did he abolish races? Did he like beat his son to the brink of death? Yes. Am I here for a redemption arc? Yes, I am here for a redemption arc. What are we talking about?
That's something I didn't talk about earlier in this episode. In terms of like Cecil's point against Mark, uh, and how like he's okay with viewing his father in a more kind light now, but he's unwilling to look at like Darkwing or uh,
Yeah,
the Reaniman themselves. Not even the guy who makes him. I forget his name. Sinclair.
D.A. Sinclair. Yeah.
Um, the fact that he's not even willing to look at them with a kinder eye, but his own father, who did much, much worse, so much
Yeah.
worse, he's hypocritical for it, and just another reason
Yeah.
Cecil's on his ass. Cecil's on his ass.
Well, it's like, dude, why not have a contingency plan after what Omni-Man just did? Like, yeah, you can't trust Invincible. You can't. There's nothing he's gonna be able to say where you like, even whenever he's like, of course we're still spying on the Graysons, but I mean, we can't let him know that. It's like, he's justified. Is he not justified for continuing to spy on them? Because why wouldn't you, especially with Oliver in the mix? But even if he was out of the picture, he's still very much justified. He is possibly the best at his archetype in terms
Yep.
of like the Amanda Wallers and Nick Furies. I saw that comparison a lot. He is by far and away the best. I think the work they've done for him has been awesome. And whenever you have 3 seasons of an incredible show like this and you're fleshing out all of these characters and you're not afraid to take time to flesh them out the way you're doing, I mean, it's truly amazing. I'm so happy this show is restoring the feeling and is getting back in the good graces of everybody. Because I love being a part of the weekly discussion. Can't wait to see the edits this week until to hold us over. I can't wait to probably get spoiled on more stuff from the comics. So yeah, I thought it was a wonderful episode. Speaking of weeks and weeks of theorizing and waiting and whatnot, one thing that I did not have a picture ready for that I probably should have is our next show that we're covering, and that is Severance Season 2. Now, we can go ahead on our I mean, I've spilled my thoughts before. We can get into like some spoiler thoughts on season 2. So be warned, this is full spoilers of our thoughts on Severance episodes 4 and 5. Before we get into episode 5 spoilers, just in case nobody's watched it yet, we will give a heads up. But season 2 up to this point, episodes 1 through 4, Charlie, you are very much welcome to take us away.
Yeah. I was one of the people that watched season 1 of Severance, not right when it came out, but very close to when it came out. Probably like a month or two after it was completely done airing, so I was able to binge it. But unfortunately, still ended up being one of the people that had to wait, excuse me, seemingly forever after that incredible finale with the incredible cliffhanger. So naturally, when season 2 finally came around, I was ecstatic to finally see the continuation of this story. And I mean, a very interesting way to start the season. We don't even see any of the outies. Like we're caught up with Mark only, in the or actually no, I think we in the second half of the episode we get all the rest of them back. But at the beginning, Mark only, and he has a new crew of macro data refiners, and it's you're kind of thrown into this like almost like makes you mad. At least for me, it kind of did. I was like, dude, there's no way they're doing this. Like, come on, man. Don't. I need to get back on track here. And they resolve that very quickly, and it all makes sense for the story and everything like that, and it's great. And they drop these little tidbits of certain things here and there, um, like elevator dings. For things to look out for in the coming episodes. Now, I believe you can catch the fact that there's no elevator ding uh, in episode 1. I believe you can hear that there is none, but you don't know that there's anything correlating to that until episode 2, when you see all of the Audis going back down into the elevators to go back into their any lives. That's when I kind of pieced it together. I texted Aiden and I was like, dude, 100%. Helly is not. She did not transition or whatever when she was going down the elevator. I'm calling that shit now, and I was right. But just following the season along, it was also very funny. I had a lot of strong words to say about like Irving and Helly when I was on the side of things of not knowing what was going on. Aiden was ahead of me, and I was like, Irving didn't tell anybody on the outside. He dropped the ball, and why the hell is Helly lying about what she saw? Like, what the fuck are we doing? I was fully in, and they got my ass at the beginning. They got my ass at the beginning. They had me in the first half. But I mean, as the show goes on, it just keeps getting better and better and better somehow, man. And episode 4. Not even talking about episode 5 yet, but episode 4 was holy shit. Aiden
A
told me
masterpiece, dude.
when I was talking shit on Irving. Aiden told me like, you're gonna live to regret that. And I mean, obviously I kind of took him at his word, but I was like, nah. I mean, I know me. There's no way that Irving can live up for what he didn't do on the outside, right? And oh my God, was I wrong, man? Was
Well,
I so wrong?
it's so funny because we were talking after we recorded last week, was it? No way, it's only been a week. I guess it has.
Yeah.
Because I had watched episode 4 that day and then we came to record. The joy on my face. I tweeted, I said, I think I said Irving is the man. Hashtag episode Severance episode 4. And me and Charlie were talking about it, and he was like, why didn't Irving dig deeper? And why is Helly lying? And whenever he said, whenever you started talking shit about Irving, and you were like, what? And what did Irving do? Why are you saying Irving? Like, there's bro, Irving fumbled. He dropped the ball. The smile on my face when I was like, I'm so happy you just said that right now, because I knew that when you got there, you were gonna be like, holy shit.
That was, I mean, and yeah, you're right. Because, like, dude, that whole scene was played so excellently. Watching edits back of it is just so satisfying. I mean, I just viscerally love when, I mean, this sounds bad, but when he's shoving her head underwater, and then he brings it back up, and she's like, Jesus, Seth, just do it. And then he's like, yes, Seth, yes, or yes, Seth, do it.
Do it.
Oh my God, man, so good. And
I
then obviously, like, the last night, what you said to me was cruel. Helly was never cruel. So fucking good, man.
It's just, I mean, their relationships, they struck gold with this cast. The writing has been phenomenal. I mean, they understand these characters to a fucking T. And also, I mean, it's just so fun to watch this. I was there tonight watching this with Brandon. Last week I went over there and watched it with Brandon. And it's so like fun to watch this with someone else, because the whole time, like, Irving's in that dream sequence, and um the numbers flash on the monitor, and for a split second, they line up to show Helly's face, and then the numbers switch to the word Egan. And I looked at Brandon, and I was like, "Did those what was a word that was typed out on the computer?" And he was like, "It said Egan." And I was like, "Okay, interesting," because I definitely saw an outline of Haley's face. And he was like, "Oh no, I was just trying to pay attention to what the words said." So I wasn't looking at the words, he was. I was looking at the face, he wasn't. So I was like, "Holy shit, is he finally piecing it together?" And then the look on our faces whenever he's sitting there and he's like, "Ellie was never cruel." And I was like, "Oh my god, it's happening. It's fucking I was like, "Dude, just do something before you die. Like they're going to take you out, just do something." And like that rush of that whole like 10 minutes right there, and to just have it culminate with, "Yes, Seth, do it." Oh my god.
I also love just like the way they played the scene of him walking into the forest and having Milchick just yell out like, "It will be as if you never existed," something stuff like that. Like, oh man, it's such a gut hit, but it I mean it hits in just the right places. It's so damn good, man.
And the thing about this show, I mean, after the episode came out, I was seeing all these theories, and one of the ones that really just made me step back and appreciate the show so much is somebody said, "I wonder if the tents were rigged with something that would keep the innies in kind of um, a blank sleep to where they didn't dream," because I mean that's the best way. Like if an innie slept and had a dream, I mean so much could happen as a result of that. And so people were like, "I wonder if the tents were rigged with something like that." And because Irving slept outside, he had that crazy hallucination that helped him piece together, "Oh, Ellie is not who she says she is right now." And whenever he sat there and he was like, I keep wondering who would have enough power to send to send their Audi to the severed floor. It's like, Irving, the man that you are, dude. Oh my god. He's a Navy. He's a retired Navy. Like, of course he'd put all this together. It's it's a testament to how fucking amazing the show is.
I can't get enough of it. I mean, it sucked with tonight's episode 5. I had to pause it halfway through so I could leave and go watch Captain America. So kind of sucked. I didn't want to pause it halfway through. But speaking of episode 5,
Yeah,
I think
go
we're going to
ahead and
dive
get into it.
into the spoilers for episode 5. Actually, no. First, we'll give our quick thoughts on it. Another great episode, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I love to see like the bits and pieces of and I guess this isn't really a spoiler for the episode. Like this is just you expect to see this. The reintegration with Mark happening. So I loved seeing more bits and pieces of that. But overall, the writing was still on point. We got more focus on different characters that I was more appreciative of that than in previous episodes, and even smaller characters that I think they're teeing up for something like super special, like maybe potentially bad thing that might happen, might send them over the edge kind of thing. But a lot of conflict in this episode, and I that's I guess I'm appreciative of that for sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess there's not much I can really say about without spoiling it. Performances were great. Oh my god,
Oh
Adam
my
Scott is a
god.
gem, dude. He is so damn good. Holy shit.
The actress that plays Natalie, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro.
Natalie
I
as
like
well.
this was I mean, this episode was one of the better acted episodes, and that's saying a lot because again, this cast is phenomenal. And I mean, Milchick, I think steals every scene for me personally. I am 1,000% under his charm. The dude is a great actor.
Oh, he's
But yeah,
apparently
this
he's
is
gonna be in the final Mission Impossible movie. I saw that.
no way.
Yeah, I think that was news from like last year,
Oh, that's
obviously,
sick.
I completely, because I hadn't seen Severance in a while at that point, and you hadn't watched it yet. So,
Hell yeah. I want to see him get as much stuff as possible from here on out.
yeah,
But yeah, one of the better acted episodes, and I mean that's just raising the bar even higher than it already was at. I thought it was really good. It is this show's version of not too much happened, which is insane because even these are solid 9.5 out of 10s, 9 out of
yeah,
10s. And so again, it's the same thing as Invincible. I'm more than fine with this. If this is what you call not really pushing the plot along too much, sign me the fuck up, because then what happens episodes 8, 9, 10? Oh my god.
yeah.
What the fuck happens at the end of this? Like what? I don't know. It's mind blowing to me. Um but yeah, I thought it was a great episode. Gives us a lot to chew on. A lot that we can sit here and dissect um a little bit. And so yeah, I'm very excited to dive into this.
Yeah, full spoilers for episode 5 of Severance season 2 now. So, uh, if you haven't watched it, which most of you probably haven't, unless you're a super fan of the show, you might want to click off. Thank you for listening up to this point. Um, I mean, I guess I'll just jump right to the end because it was my absolute favorite part of the episode. But uh, Audi Mark having a bit of reintegration moment and seeing the inside of Lumen and getting to see Gemma for the first time, bro. Oh my god, man. And dude, Adam, I this is what I was talking about with Adam Scott, dude. Oh my goodness, he is so good. The facial acting he does, fan fucking tastic, man. Like the
Yeah.
slight tears in his eyes, and he's just like the longing and sadness. Oh, dude, phenomenal stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I think
But,
seeing him get reintegrated fully, I, like an idiot, I read the description for next week's episode. I don't know if you have, or if you
I,
stayed away from it. Yeah, so getting to see him continue the journey of getting reintegrated. Oh my god. I mean, it is just to see those bits and pieces, even the little like flash of the picture frame turning into pills. And I thought I was onto something because earlier in the episode, when Milchek brings all of MDR into the office, and Mark's face kind of drops for a little bit, and he kind of looks like, oh, like I'm just like I just got dizzy out of nowhere. I was like, oh my god, are his memories starting to pour in a little bit? And then he started to act like a dick towards Helly and everyone. And so I was like, oh my god, maybe he's like slowly being reintegrated right now. Just come to find out he's just being a dick because he feels dumb for not catching the Helly twist. Um, but yeah, getting to see him kind of peek in the inside of Lumen, see Gemma, and kind of remind him why he needs to be fighting harder for this,
yeah,
fighting harder to be reintegrated and actually get to the bottom of everything that's going on at Lumen. It's enough fuel to possibly kick the season into second gear for the next 5 weeks.
yeah.
Wonderful shot, beautiful acting. I mean, oh my god, it's flawless.
I loved finding out that Bert was actually fired and he wasn't retiring um, for having the relationship with Irving. And I also love that they're going to get together and have a ham dinner and talk about everything. I am so excited to
Yeah.
see what ends up happening with that. Um,
Who do you think he's talking to? Like, what do you think those phone calls are?
who he's calling?
At first, I thought it was Ragabi.
Uh-huh.
That it was that maybe he was wanting to be reintegrated, or that maybe he was kind of a plant for her, and that she was like kind of helping him bring information in and out. But I don't know now. I really don't know.
What makes you doubt it, though? What makes you doubt that?
I mean, what did he say? He said, they
He
fired
said
my
they
innie. I
fired
guess
me.
I guess
They
it could
figured out
still
what he was doing.
I guess it could still stand. I think I also kind of have my doubts about her a little bit. What's to say that Lumen isn't employing her to do all of this? Because think about
True.
it. Miss Cobell said the I'm gonna butcher this, but the best way to make a man feel free, or no, the best way to make a man feel like he's not prisoned is to make him feel like he's free. So why not hire Ragabi to reintegrate, quote unquote, reintegrate Mark and make him feel like he's breaking free of Lumen's curse? I don't
True.
know. She's still Miss Cobell has not been seen in the past, what, 2.5 episodes, and she is still in the intro with that bright light on her face, reading the book that Mark is jumping in and out of. Who's to say that that doesn't hold more weight than we think of it, that we think it does?
That's a very good point. I guess the only thing I would say is like, um, I feel like it's a wild card to give Mark that freedom with reintegration and a hope that he still works on Cold Harbor.
Yeah.
Because as it stands right
That
now,
is number one. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. As it stands right now, he's working on it. Like however slowly, he still comes into the office and he works on it. Um, Seems like whenever he had that Mark's Innie had that reintegration moment and then left work like 6 minutes early and met Milchick in the elevator. Oh my god! Oh my god! I hate this. Met Milchick in the elevator. Uh, I wonder if that was like a wake up moment for him because like he was telling Milchick off, and then but earlier in the episode with the funeral, it seemed like he was kind of sucking him off. So like I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Um, it's a lot of different questions. It feels like every week, but I mean they're all questions that I love, and I can't wait to see answered. I'm never annoyed with the
Yeah.
questions that I have, or like if I have more questions. Um,
So, do you have any theories on Irving, who he's speaking with? That's the second time we've seen him on the phone with this person. We're assuming. Um, I think the first time he said, "I think my innie's got the message." Uh, so I don't know. These could be two different conversations that are happening. Because the first time we assume, okay, maybe he's calling Lumen or something. He's talking to someone, and this was after he got fired for um being unsevered in the real world, whatever, you know what I mean.
yeah.
After they got fired, he hopped on that phone and he said, I think my innie got the message. And so I don't know, we've seen two different phone calls, but as of this one where he says um he's been fired and was about to drop
Well,
some bars on him, I don't know.
truthfully, I feel like because I don't see how it could be somebody that we know of. Like
Yeah.
I mean, other than Ragabi, I think Ragabi is like it's Ragabi or it's somebody we don't know because I don't think it can be anybody else. Um, I'm trying to think, but like,
Yeah, no, I just didn't know if you
but I
maybe
also
had
feel like that'd be less interesting though. Like, if it's somebody we don't know, like that's not as interesting. Like they're shrouding it in secrecy for a reason.
yeah. He says it's me again, so they fired me. I think they knew what my innie was up to. I'm telling you to, and then it cuts off. I
Yeah.
think they knew what my innie was up to. What do you mean what your innie was up to? That's the thing. I mean,
Well, I
uh,
mean, what he left behind the poster.
but that
For
and that's what I was trying to look at. I thought the top of it said from O&D, and that maybe someone from O&D had left it behind. Oh, I guess no, because he looks at Irving's watermelon.
yeah,
Oh,
Irving
from
left it.
O&D, turn right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Irving
yeah.
left it behind. He got it from O&D because he was talking to that I don't know her name, but the woman who was close with Bert. Um and it was somebody called this out on Twitter, I believe.
Oh, really?
After last week's episode. They were like because right before he walked off into the forest, he turned to Dylan and he said, "Hang in there, Dylan," and then walked
Oh
off into
my
he walked off into the forest.
god.
Somebody called that out, and they because we could see that hang in there poster in like episode 1 or something of season
Yeah,
2,
yeah.
and they're like, "What if he put something behind the poster?" And he fucking did. It's fucking wild.
Okay, so then, man, that's weird. So then, how would his Audi being on the phone saying, "I think they know what my innie was up to"?
Yeah.
I mean,
You think
that
he's
means he
still
has to have
reiterated?
some
Yeah.
kind of communication with something is going on with him. Um, so yeah, I mean, again, this show and its little teases, it's awesome. Another one I wanted to bring up was this motherfucker Rickon.
Oh
Because
yeah.
an interesting parallel is how he was the first person we saw give Mark shit for severing and working for and severing, not even just working for Lumen, but just severing as a whole,
Yeah.
so that he could deal with his grief. He was the first person we saw give Mark shit for that. And now he's over here trying to justify writing propaganda for innies all across the board. And he's like, "Oh, but this will help for our kid and our, well-being and this life I'm supporting." And it's like, okay, so then whenever Mark severs because he doesn't want to have to deal with grieving his dead wife, it's an issue. And now you're just like, and I don't know. I've seen people say that maybe he has a lot more to do with Lumen and the overall conspiracy. I know there's a lot of theories about him and his books and how Lumen is coming to him to write for them and whatnot.
Yeah.
So he's someone to keep an eye on. But I thought that parallel was interesting because that man has been getting on my goddamn nerves badly.
Yeah, he just doesn't see a problem with completely as Devin pointed out, like changing to the complete opposite meaning of what he wrote initially. Like
Yeah.
you're changing your entire narrative of your book, and you have no problem with that. That's, I guess, something that I mean, no, he's very like he very much wants like attention, and so I guess this is like the first large amount of attention he's getting.
Yeah.
So he's reveling in it, uh, even if he has to adapt and change how he is to fit into that world bit more. But yeah,
Um, yeah, I don't know. I think he's kind of one of those, like, if we were drafting and you got the most points for the most outlandish character to make the most sense to the plot, Rickon would probably be my pick. Um, and so I figured, it wouldn't hurt. This is our first time recording anything Severance and putting it out there, so I'm trying to just get all the theories and all the speculation out as we can. And with that comes our boy, Mr. 4 Hour Performance Review himself, Mr. Milchek. There's a couple things I want to talk about him, and then we can wrap up this talk. One, he's been striking me this season as one of those characters that is not necessarily good, is not necessarily a good guy, but is kind of that character that will take will probably take a significant amount of shit before he finally snaps and is like, "What am I doing?" We see it. We see the look on his face. We see the hesitation with the blackface Egan painting that him and Natalie got. And this episode, we get probably the most in terms of that theory, which is his conversation with Natalie and his conversation with Mrs. Wang. Um, so yeah, again, another stellar acting performance when he's talking to Natalie, and you could even see that maybe she's also one of those characters that doesn't necessarily believe in what they are working for, but is kind of just putting up with it because they have to in that conversation.
for history's sake, because they think this Cold Harbor thing is going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Whatever
Yeah.
it is.
It's gotta be cloning.
See,
I mean,
dude, I saw a dumb, stupid take. I can't remember who. I think it was from Cosmonaut Variety Hour or whatever his
oh
fucking
shit.
that YouTuber guy. Uh, he basically said like, "Oh, small brain thinking, Lumen's cloning people. Big brain thinking, there's multiple severed people for one person or something like that. People have multiple severed identities." And I was like, "Is that not just cloning? Like, how do you have?
Yeah.
How could there be? Because there's a severed person is one person split into two in one body.
Yeah.
So if there's multiple, like I don't, what do you? I don't. I don't know.
I think people just hear the word cloning and they're like, "Oh, that's too like basic, or that's too basic for a big brain show like this." And it's like, I mean, they're
Like,
cloning people. Like, this show is grounded and based in
yeah.
a reality close to ours. Um, and speaking of the cloning and stuff, whenever they are talking about like, oh, Cold Harbor is like, popping off, I really want to go back and rewatch this, and I probably should have rewatched this moment before coming on here to talk about it. But what was interesting was when they're talking to Ellie, or when they're talking to Helena Egan, they say
Mhm.
he's at 78%, and then they say, oh, 81% now. But they say he's at 78%, 81% now. And then later on, we see Cold Harbor is at 85% when Mark's working on it just a little bit later. Again, I haven't rewatched this moment. I actually have it playing right now, so I'll let you talk a little on Cold Harbor and stuff like that. I'll come back and we can talk about it in depth if it is insinuating what I think it is. If not, I'll blow right past it. So
I guess I wonder the significance of the name Cold Harbor though, because like nothing about that screams cloning to me. Not that I don't think that there's cloning being involved, but Cold Harbor just why is that? What is how does that relate? Um,
yeah.
so it leads me to wonder. I mean, does it have to do with maybe Gemma specifically and why they're holding on to her? Uh, and maybe she's going to be the face of this. Maybe he's programming like a whole new way to uh, sever people. Um, maybe
Yeah.
a much more permanent one that cannot be reintegrated. But also, I feel like that now that I'm thinking about that, that feels kind of small
Well,
brain thinking. Um,
I rewatched the scene when they say he's at 78%, 81 as of Friday. They're talking about his work, not a he. And so, like, for a second, I was
mhm,
like, who is this he clone that we're
sure.
talking about? Because we only see Cold Harbor as Gemma, but they say that Mark is at there, and they're so close to Mark completing Cold Harbor, which I've seen theories on. I'll touch on after you finish up.
Yeah, I mean, the possibilities are, I don't want to say endless, but uh, I do think we've narrowed them down a lot so far. But it's just, and I love that I don't know what it is though. At the same time, that it's kind of just like a guessing game for me. Um, Something that we talk about a lot on this podcast is like I hate when trailers for stuff show too many things, et cetera, et cetera. I hate watching Invincible knowing what's going to happen
Yeah,
already. And so watching this and then just everybody theorizing, uh, it's like old MCU days, kind of on early MCU days on TikTok or whatever.
yeah,
So, yeah.
yeah. I one of my favorite theories for Cold Harbor. Again, this might be a super outlandish, but I think it's pretty cool. Um, One of my favorite theories is that Mark is the best at what he does down there in MDR, which is making a clone. And that is done by sorting the I don't know if we ever talked about this because
Yeah,
you
I
you
think
said you had theories. Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah. We
characteristics
did, we
of a
did.
person. Yeah.
Yeah, the four tempers.
10%.
Mark is the best at separating that data, which is why they keep him and they get rid of everyone else around him in episode 1 with that new MDR team.
Yeah.
He's so good at his job, which let's just assume is making clones. He's so good at that they need to keep him around. And if he perfects Cold Harbor like he's on pace to doing, the theory is that they can take that and they can clone and bring back and resurrect Pierre Egan, their Lord and Savior.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't think about that myself.
I would have never. I'll tell you right now, I would have never gotten to that on my own. But it is one of my favorite theories that I've seen out there because it's something crazy enough a cult like Lumen and the Egans would do and would try and pull off. And bless you.
Thank you. Oh my god, that should hurt. Oh.
That is one of my favorite theories right now. So anything other than that would be a welcoming surprise.
Yeah, that's actually I love the sound of that. Because like that's just the kind of like batshit crazy thing that these fanatics would want to do. And I'd love to see how I guess crazy they go at the idea of it happening and then maybe it like being ripped away from them, or maybe it does happen and we see Kier as an actual physical person, as an embodiment of Kier at some point in this show. I know did it get greenlit for 2 more seasons or just 1 more?
I don't know. I know Brandon sent me something the other day that said the writer's room for season 3 has started. But then he said that sometimes they open that up before they get greenlit, just that way if they do get greenlit, they already did most of the writing work on it. I can't imagine if they want to make a 3rd season that they wouldn't just go ahead and give it to them, but I don't know. I say that as a Mindhunter fan that we have been waiting on for years and years and years. That will probably never happen. So who knows? I hope so. I mean, it depends. If you have enough story to tell, I mean, there's 10 episodes this season. I can't imagine. Like, I don't even know how this season's gonna end, let alone a whole nother 3rd season. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun times. I've seen people say that there might be a race of Mark reintegrating to Cold Harbor being finished. And some guy, I wish I remembered his TikTok username. He said he could see something like Mark's journey to being reintegrated and having to kind of like lock in at work because he doesn't realize how important Cold Harbor is, and have that buzzer beater finish of it being like 99%, and like the end of the season it's at 99% and he's like fully reintegrated, and like everything in Lumen is relying on Mark to like make this perfect whatever it is. But he's on the up and up of being reintegrated and coming back in. So I don't know. There's a lot of cool stuff they can mess around with. I'm excited to theorize and crunch theories all week leading up to next week. I'm sad we won't be in here because watch episode 5 of Invincible and episode 6 of Severance just be absolutely groundbreaking, and it's the 1 week that we're not able to get in here. So yeah, I mean, great things going on. 3 amazing shows going on right now. 1 wraps up next week, and then we have 2 that are going to continue for the next couple weeks. I mean, we are getting blessed big
True
time.
that, brother. True that.
Awesome. I'm glad we were able to get in here. It's absolutely goddamn late for both of us.
For you, especially. That's crazy.
Especially for me. But I mean, again, there was no way that we were just going to cut the episode off where Ben left off and just not talk about these 2 pieces of media, especially because we won't get to talk about it next week, which would have put us a whole 3 weeks behind on both of them. And I feel like that's just a disservice to both of these show, Invincible and Severance. Like, come on, you can't just not talk about it for 3 weeks. Like,
you got to discuss, bro.
We already did that once with, we already done that. Yeah, Severance is built to be talked about week to week and theorized. I don't know, Ben, if you're listening, which he's probably not, you got to figure something out, buddy. because you got to talk about this show.
Yeah, he said it's on us. He's like, he said we got to figure something out. Nah, buddy, that's your schedule. You got to figure that shit out.
Buddy. I mean, we've been pretty good about it so far. That will conclude today's 2-day long episode. Holy shit. I am tired. I have to be up semi early. It's 3 a.m. for me. I mean,
bro.
Jesus Christ, I'm all out of it. I knew this. I told my fiance, I was like, all right, look, Thursday is going to be a packed day. I got this. It's just going to be insane. And it's finally over. One of our biggest episodes yet that was not revolving around just a movie or a fucking Comic-Con or D23. So take that for what you will. If you listen all the way here, I mean, thank you. If you skipped here to the end, thank you as well. That is it from both of us. We will see you.
Razor kid, bro. This Razor kid. He's got the Razor headphones and the Razor chair. Talk about a Razor rider. Crazy.
Hey, don't forget.
Oh no, not the Razor death ad. Is that a death ad? I don't even know.
It's a mouse. Bro. Come on, bro.
Well, no, yeah, but they have a mouse called a death adder.
Oh, I don't.
But
know.
I don't think that one's.
This is the basilisk.
Oh, basilisk. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, basilisk. I'm all razored out, buddy.
Rose a Razor fan.
We will see you in the next one.
Hopefully I won't be sick. Adios.